March 10th. North American stock futures looking to bounce this morning. We're in positive territory significantly right across the board, although U.S. futures have come well off the high, still holding on to nice gains here, but we are significantly lower than when I sat down first off this morning. U.S. indexes, of course, suffering their worst single-day performance since the 2008 financial crisis on Monday. The Dow posted its largest intraday point decline on record as well. Italy announcing overnight it has shut down the entire country, essentially quarantining everyone in an effort or continued effort to help control the spread of the COVID-19 virus. Late Monday as well, U.S. President Trump announcing plans for a possible payroll tax cut or some sort of relief coming in addition to the $8.3 billion spending package he signed into law last week in an effort to help fight the spread of the coronavirus. Crude oil prices back to the upside this morning, gapping up about 10%. All the oil names gapping up with the price for crude this morning into positive territory. We're watching Brent and West Texas Intermediate that fell 20% on Monday, guys. It's been a wild ride for markets. It's been a wild ride for crude oil. We have virus-related stocks back to the downside this morning and energy names gapping higher. Good morning.
Yeah. Good morning there, Brendan. Good morning, everybody tuning in. Day number 2 on YouTube Live here. Sean and Neil, we're in the building. Crude, you just mentioned back up. You know, the Saudis ramping past the max production, 12.3. And we're still going to the upside here. So lots of things to figure out. You mentioned the tax cuts. I actually think a bigger piece of news, if they come through with those interest-free small business loans, that's much more effective, I think. And people are going to stay home. I don't know how much of it that's going to matter. But the market seems to like this calm. We were ticks away from limit up, and overnight limits are different from the ones we experienced yesterday at the open. Overnight limits are 5% up or down. They'll halt it. Though that 7%, that 13, that 20, you'll only see those limit down. You're not worrying about those if we hit 7% to the upside today. They're not going to be in effect.
Yeah, I see Greg there. Yeah, of course, trade Microsoft today. That's probably going to be a good one for sure. Valeria asking, what stocks is everyone looking at today? So yeah, tweet them out to us. Obviously, put them in our chat right
Already got some aim.
We're monitoring that chat right here. Mr. Softy, that's right, Mr. McEwen.
Mr. Softy.
Mr. Softy will be in the building today. Probably one of the best stocks anyone can
going
own.
Hard on Softy today.
Yeah,
there it is.
AMD as well, apparently being talked about. So there's lots of names. I wrote down a few: XOM, American Airlines, AMD, Roku. Give you a name right there. We'll trade Roku out of the top side, breaking through 102 as well today. Pretty bullish on the day, but again, we'll see what happens. Probably get a little bit of a rip up in the first 5 or 6 minutes, and then we'll see from there whether or not we fade back down or not. But we're not even close to doom and gloom or anything.
Sorry, I got to hit this.
Back.
I'm going to hit this right here. Some of the coronavirus names are already to the downside, catching aim on a quick short there for about a 23-cent scalp for a quarter of it. We'll get to that name and then some. But AMD, good joke, good name there, Aqua. We do love it. HOLX, interesting. Okay. Funding a coronavirus test. We're going to talk a lot about those names coming up, but kick it back to Brendan. Lots to cover.
All right, guys, let's get into some markets here. We'll go over to the APAC region first, have a look at how Asian markets fared overnight. It was, a little bit of a positive story here. Continued hopes of more stimulus coming from the Chinese government had both the Hong Kong market and Shanghai back in positive territory nicely. In fact, you can see Australia 4.7% to the upside. Obviously, the bounce in oil prices helping with that, 0.85% for Japan. Nifty still in negative territory in Korea, back to the upside as well. Let's go over to Europe, see how things are faring so far heading into the midday session over in Europe. Yeah, pretty positive right across the board, although look at Italy there, still just hanging on to positive territory. Spain as well, only 0.6%. Into positive territory. Sweden, Swiss market there, England, all more than 2% to the upside. Nice day so far for Europe. Obviously, stimulus hopes right across the board lending to some of these positive moves. Let's have a look at North American markets heading towards the open here, about 25 minutes to go. Yeah, still 3+% right across the board here. As I mentioned, though, we have come well off the highs. A little bit of a bounce underway at the moment, but nice gains set to take place here right at the open. Look at crude oil at the bottom there. 8.5% still in positive territory. Bitcoin's higher today. Gold back to the downside. Obviously, people putting maybe some money back to work that had been in gold over the past couple of days. We have our good friend Mark Roberts standing by down on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange from Catone & Company. Going to check in with him now and see how he is preparing for the day. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning. How are you today?
Very good. It's been interesting to say the least over the past couple of sessions. Wanted to start really with yesterday. Obviously, a bit of a historic day on the markets. How was the mood? How was the state of mind? Obviously on the floor. Obviously opening limit down, and then we get the halt right off the bat.
Well, I think the thing that saved most of the sentiment, even though a lot of people were reminded of 1987. Machines, algos, and really the lack of specialist books is the difference in the last 10, 20 years. The issue really became more that we started to see this when we turned on the TV set for news and business at 7 and 8 o'clock at night as Australia was opening and the crude markets had already been collapsing to $30. So the good thing is everybody was well prepared. The bad thing is we had to deal with a full day of machine movement, and that's always a little on the anguish side.
Yeah, let's talk about crude oil here a little bit this morning. Obviously, no deal yet in between, the Saudis and Russia, but still a bounce underway this morning in crude markets. Significant one, 10% as we're sitting here at the moment. If there's an individual name you're looking toward to kind of show some strength as far as an energy name, which one would you go to first?
Well, to be perfectly frank, if you're looking to hold names, something like an Exxon, because it's yielding north of 7%, and they would be money good. You can't go down too far on the food chain because you get into the fracking and into the smaller energy stocks that may face funding issues and potential bankruptcy as the price of oil has set itself into the dangerous $30 area. So that's a concern. So for me, I'd stick to the XLE. That's the index ETF, easier to do. Just like as the boys were talking about tech stocks for the early part of the day, the XLK, which is technology, it's a cleaner way to play those bigger names and not get hurt on liquidity issues as the market goes up and down.
We saw crude markets test below that $30 level that you mentioned there early on yesterday. If there are significant levels that we should be looking at, which ones do you have in mind today as far as support goes?
Oh, I think anywhere between 30 and 34, you have to keep your eye on. I'm always a believer that markets tend to retest some point of the level. It may not be 30, it may be 32 and a half, but these things will test again until there's some agreement between the Saudis and the Russians. They've been talking behind the scenes, so we hear, but nothing is firm yet.
Great stuff, Mark. We have obviously lots of news once again this morning. Airlines going to be in focus today. We'll get you over to Neil and Sean to discuss some individual names.
Good morning, Mark. I feel like it would have been interesting to have you on yesterday. I know I sent you a note when we had that halt upcoming in the morning, and there was some confusion as to how the U.S. markets were going to look at 9:30. I want to very quickly jump into something that we don't really talk too much about FX here, but I need to get your opinion on this. You saw a rather large move in yen USD yesterday, seen as a sort of like that safe haven, carry trade. What's going on here? Of course, that would seem to pertain for bad things for the market. There's a bit of a bounce back I see back at 104 last I checked. But what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that's sort of an overreaction to think that that's going to send us further to the downside if this continues?
I don't think anything is an overreaction when you get machine and algos pushing levels on illiquidity at off hours. So from that point of view, everything is a possibility. What ends up happening is now that these levels have been breached, and even to the 10-year going down to 0.30, everything is a wide open game at this point where any of these levels can be retested, and it's going to be a question of the dynamics moving forward. So Mr. Trump has stated that he's going to play around with fiscal reform to hold the country into some strength. That's helped the markets. You've got behind the scenes energy talks. I'm sure central banks are talking about some collective way of playing the market. Certainly Italy with its virus concerns, and now Spain has them. These central banks are going to be very aggressive. Ours, which everybody is looking for another 50-point basis point rate cut, it may or may not be important as much as it is something just to show the Fed's involved. So to your question on currencies, volatility is here for the next 5 to 7 days.
Okay, great stuff. I mean, I got one more thing for when it comes to the energy stocks. You mentioned, sticking to, maybe the XOMs or whatnot. You're getting a bit of a bounce back in oil, back to that 34. You talked about retesting levels. How much does that play? Maybe a little more than expected, given what the Saudis are doing. How much does that play into making sure you're in best of breed and staying away from some of these under pressure? I was looking at WLL, Whiting. I'm not sure you want to be jumping into that, even though they're going to get the bounce today. If you get any kind of a retracement to the downside, those could get ugly really fast, in my opinion.
Yeah, the problem with those cheaper names, more leveraged names, all of a sudden you could get headline risk. Do you really want to trade for the 20, 30, 40 cents facing a headline risk? Probably not. I'd go bigger into the majors and take those moves and really get to know the levels in those stocks. I'm just a believer liquidity is everything.
Yeah, so true.
Yeah, we saw what could happen. Hey, Mark, how's it going? We saw what could happen with Chesapeake. Obviously down in the 20s now. Yeah. We talked about what that was around $1, and we didn't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole, and that was good advice on that one. One more name before we let you go, Mark. We know it's going to be a busy one. You've looked at Roku a couple times on the show with us before. It touched $90 yesterday in the pre-market. Looks like we'll open up around 101, 102-ish level. Are we due for a bounce? I mean, I know you talked about the XLK here. I like Roku to the upside, breaking through that 102 level. Maybe this move is a little bit exhausted to the downside on some of these names. I think people obviously staying in. This is not really a coronavirus play, but it could be. I mean, people could be buying more Rokus, and they could surprise maybe with some upgrades here or there. How do you think Roku pans out today, maybe for a day trade?
A day trade makes sense. You guys are masters at looking at your charts. Look for clusters. Look for 3-minute, 5-minute, 10-minute clusters that produce resistance and support, and play those aggressively, and I think you'll make more money than you could possibly imagine. The clusters are key.
That's what we love to do here, Mark.
Well, from one master to another, thank you there, Mark. Thanks for the compliments. No, but yeah, okay, that's what I was thinking, and you mentioned XLK. That may be a safer play if you wanted to grab a basket of technology stocks, and Roku would fit that bill. Microsoft's been great trading for us. Apple's a little choppy, obviously, and it can move $10 right in your face depending on the headline risk, so we kind of trying to stay away from that a little bit. But okay, if you could give us one stock today that you think in any sector that may be the best for a day trade. I have XOM marked down. We already did mention that as well. Is there another one that maybe we haven't touched upon that you wanted to get over?
Well, Citibank recommended going into AMAT, and they're taking LRCX off their list for the moment. I'd look into potentially trading the LRCX as a resistance point at some level, and AMAT as a possible long name. So again, I'm looking at their research and I'm looking at the movements. Both are moving around. They may be great trading names for the day.
Yeah, Lam Research is, thank you for bringing up LRCX. That's been a great name, and I know there's a lot of money getting ready to pour into some of these high quality names. So good advice there, Mark.
Yeah,
and this is our second day on YouTube Live. So get ready to be a star, Mark Roberts.
Already are.
Already are. All right, thank you so much. Enjoy your time at the NYSE. We look forward to having you back.
Thanks, Mark.
Great day.
Thank you. Mark Roberts from Cotoning Company. There you go. Senior sales trader giving the advice on energy, technology.
And great place it is. I was looking. You're looking at Microsoft there and some Roku. I was looking at some AMD, but AMAT. Hey, I like this. This 54. Look at this 54-ish level that we're trading basically at right now, just a little bit above. It's a future stabilizing up about 3% on the session. There's lots of other names to get to quickly. I did briefly mention AIM. We'll just review because we ended up taking about 3/4 off of this one, and we're already to the moon. We love these gap retracement plays. Now that things are settling down in this space, it's easier to take these on the way back when most of them are coming back to the downside. You do see what happened on the daily chart. Got the parabolic move yesterday. We're going to have this nice little down candle. I'm all in love when I see that gap lower. You get the consolidation. You're working off a 550 level. You're shorting in the 20s and 30s. We picked it up at 25. We're out 5 even. We're out 476. Then we catch the absolute bottom there at 442. So you're going to take an over 80-cent win on that third. I still actually have a quarter of the position here, but it's right back at this level. Break even stop from 550 now, and we'll work with the rest. And it's not even the only one that's moving. We'll get to some of the others with Brendan.
Into some individual names here. I think it's worth mentioning here, as far as companies with individual news, and there are some this morning gapping around, they might be superseded by the overall market move to the upside. So why don't we start this morning by having a look at some of the, some of the big guys, some of the majors that we look at all the time. Let's have a look at Apple here. I mean, we're already 4% to the upside on Apple. A little bit of a pivot being formed here around this 277.40 area. I mean, support not that far below us as well at 276.5.
Yeah, no, I mean, Apple is great. I mean, Apple's up 4% today. Again, it's just a matter of what you think about the market here. I mean, the market's going to be up. It's going to open up about 3% right now. You could see Apple yesterday makes the move, obviously, right at the close. Everything dropped quite dramatically down to 266. That was an unbelievable bottom there. You did bottom out earlier at 268. I would say, yeah, it's made similar supports here in the pre-market, 274, 275. So if you are bearish, I mean, look out for those levels to break. You could see a dramatic move down similar to right here. If not, just like Mark said, check out some of the consolidations that are happening, and 276.50 trading up to 277.50. So you're in basically a dollar range, and it looks like we're about to break out right now. The high today, 279.75. So a lot of key levels to play off of there, 280.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you can even look at yesterday, that top right there in the afternoon. Ignore those wicks, that 278 and change, and look at the break point when it broke down below that in the pre-market, and then sort of hovering below that right now. If we get a rally into the open here, maybe retesting that overnight halt level, whatever you want to call it, doesn't really come into play anymore. But you could get a nice little play even without reaching the pre-market high.
Remember, the thing about these stocks, like I would go long Microsoft right now, but it can flush, and that's what's been happening off the open. Let's see what
we're getting away from those 9:30 trades and pre-market trades. I think for that reason, because you get better opportunities and prices. I think if you just waited out.
I was going to look at yesterday's action at the open, but we remember what happened yesterday. It was halted. So yeah, we not too much there, but yeah. Our experience, guys, you could put some, here, we have a cool graphic for that. You can lay a little bit in the weeds.
I like it.
Here we go. You can lay in the weeds on a stock like Microsoft, like Apple, like Tesla, hoping for maybe a little bit of a lower print
just grass.
Coming throughout the day. Yeah, that's grass. Yeah, I think we are the weeds in that picture. But anyways, Brendan, Apple, great name. Thanks for bringing it up. We're going to be looking at AMAT accordingly as well from Mark Roberts there. So we'll have a look at that. And I like Roku. So
Mark's prediction, boldly predicting that we're going to make more money than we can ever imagine if we stick to the plan. So yeah, that's a great call. I just had a look at AMD, guys, up just over 5%. NVIDIA here. Let's check out NVIDIA. Some decent levels on the daily chart as well. 240, 239.75 to 240 on the daily chart. A significant support that we touched yesterday. Obviously well above that now. 4.4% here. Same looking chart as Apple, really.
It's very, very similar to Apple. I think a lot of these names, look, they're going to look the same. We're basically following the futures. I think this is one thing that traders who are accustomed to momentum trading have to adjust their strategies a little bit. You're having to follow things like the yield curve, maybe a little bit more than you're used to. Maybe you're having to follow some currencies. We're watching that yen USD we talked about, which has been basically moving the ES all morning long. So you really do have to pay attention to some bigger things that are happening in the market. While I think there's some names that are going to obviously trade on their own. I think certainly with Apple and your NVIDIAs here, same story. You're just going to have to watch out. But it's a very, very similar thing. If you're looking at support levels, Brendan, you already mentioned them all. AMD's on my radar. over NVIDIA for no other reason than yesterday when the chaos happened off the open. It made sense to me. The liquidity was good, so I felt a little more comfortable in that place. I'll probably be there again today.
Yeah, I'm going to take this long through 260 if that does come through. NVIDIA, we know, can go up 10% in a day if the rally does continue, which it looks like it's starting to get going here. 28, I mean, here's the futures here. A little bounce off 28.20. That's, nice to hold this 2800. We'll see if we get back up here to where we were in the pre-market, which was a little bit overzealous. The Dow was up over 1,000 points, like we talked about, limit up at one point. 2880, 2879, I think, was the limit up number. Now we come off of that and looks to be rebounding a little bit. So let's take NVIDIA if it breaks above 260. It may be scary though, guys, because in order for it to get up 260, the Dow's got to get back up to that 1,000 points. Right. But as we saw on the downside, it can even double that and go up 2,000 points. I think there's still an up 2,000 point day someday this week or next week. I don't know if it's today, but if it is, you definitely want to have some of these semiconductors.
All right, guys, let's shift over to the airlines here. I want to mention real quick, though, Cyprus Semiconductor, we were trading this one the end of last week. There was some rumors floating around that the U.S. government was going to block the deal with Germany's Infineon Technologies, who's buying Cyprus Semiconductor. They got that approval today. So big move down, yes, or at the end of last week. We're back to the upside about 47% this morning after that approval came through. So have a look at CY today. About 6 million shares already in the pre-market. Want to make sure we get to the airlines here, guys. Delta coming out this morning, becoming the first or the latest of the major U.S. carriers to plan what it's calling deep cuts to plan flights going forward in response to the coronavirus. I mean, you can look at DAL, you can look at UAL, AAL, they're all going to look pretty much the same. DAL here up about 4% with the overall market, guys.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things to come out of that, Trump's talk there was nothing yet for travel and airlines. It's certainly something that could be in play, but right now they're making their own reactions, and a little bit of a different reaction here. You're going to get American up 6.5%. You're going to see Delta up 4%, and if I can just quickly jump over to United, again, they're going to be up 6%. So you do have, as you mentioned there, Delta looking relatively weak. I think that's something you can file away. In terms of key levels, down here, there's not going to be a heck of a lot. If you look at the last few sessions, at least you can look towards the highs off of that reopen in the morning when we had those halts. You can certainly look at $51, which is about $1 away on UAL. And it's going to be similar across the board. So that could turn into a resistance point on some of these.
Yeah, we're going to go along AAL. I've been trading that one and done really well on it. Look at this. This is $16, so it's bumped up here. This is a daily chart, of course. You can see right here, daily simple moving average. Obviously, look at this fall from $30. Holy crap. Straight downside. Now you get 16, so it's bumping off 16 right now. The bottom, 14.37. So, I mean, you go long 16. I don't think the stock's going to move $2 or $3 today, but long 16, you have a little bit of room back to the upside here. And like we mentioned, if any news comes through, I do like it. 500,000 shares makes sense. Coming to the top side right here, 16 is the top today. My order's already in. Probably 1,000 or so shares going long at 16. We'll see what happens there, see if we can't make a little bit of money.
All right, guys, let's go to Dick's Sporting Goods, one of those names that we only trade or typically trade around earnings. They reported a decent quarter, Q4, that did beat estimates right across the board, it looks like. They also gave full year guidance that was to the downside, but not as bad as some analysts were expecting. So a little bit of a pop here. Not a lot of volume in the pre-market, but nice move for DKS. A little bit of actual news this morning, guys, as far as an earnings report to have a look at.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, we're sort of winding down in earnings season here, but Dick's, I just have some levels here that we can work off of here in Dick's. 37.15 to 38 should be a little bit of support, and we already gapped up into the 40s. If you look at the overnight move, and right now we're basically consolidating on very, very light volume at the top end of that range. So you're definitely going to want this one to open up and make that opening range at least in the first 5, maybe even 15 minutes or so before jumping in too deeply with Dick's. It is up that 10%, so nice move. I want to see volume come in. Spread is big. It's like $1 right now, so really not worth having a look until you see some liquidity come into the open. I mentioned the coronavirus names. I already took one. We have AIM. That was the best one for me yesterday. We jumped back in today and I already have a big win. But Brennan, I know you're looking at another one, which is a high flyer.
Yeah, I'm going to watch Codex, guys. Co-Diagnostics, obviously, another one, CODX. This thing's back below $9 after we hit $23.75 last week. So huge fall from grace here. Watch $9, obviously a bit of a pivot already around that $9 area in the pre-market. Otherwise, there was support up here at $9.75 late yesterday, and then you're looking at $10.25, $10.30 to the upside for CODX. But worth mentioning here, guys, we're still seeing that kind of inverse relationship between the market and these stocks. Market goes higher, these come back to the downside and vice versa. So be careful, I think, with the virus stocks again today.
Yeah, you mentioned it, Brendan, and moving in lockstep there is that, AIM basically comes all the way back to my entry price after catching that bottom. But look, the same thing happened in Codex. You could have made the precise trade here. The difference being you do have, it's just a little bit more of a spread in Codex. AIM has done 3.8 million shares, whereas Codex has done 400,000. One's a $5 stock, one's an $8 stock. So for me, in that situation, on the way back in, I'm probably going to be in the more liquid name, but certainly a good opportunity there in Codex.
Yeah, I just take the bottom here, 825. I mean, if 825 comes through, then you can easily take that, and we'll see what happens. But 825 going to come into play now, hopefully soon on Codex, and we'll go short. That's the bottom, and we'll just see. I mean, I think coronavirus fears are well overstated, so we'll just see what does happen today on that. I'm not worried at all with that. Italy now on lockdown, so we're going to see. I see some new cases now in Spain. Amazing. Russia, 20 cases, so they've obviously got it on lockdown over there. So we talk about that. Iran, China. We'll see what's to come with that. But I'm not super worried about that virus. I'm more worried about the price of oil. So we will check out that. Right now up 8%.
Holding that 34 level. I think, look, if we trade and move down from there, just watch out for some of those other names that we were mentioning. We mentioned Whiting. We mentioned Occidental. So I think those are the weaker names that you can play if it comes down. And if we hold or go to the upside, like we said, XOM to the upside. There's Stitch Fix. I just want to quickly jump here. Look, they cut their full year forecast for revenue down 29%. It has recovered some here in the pre-market from a bottom at $12. Now, sort of looking from top to bottom here, the 50% magic of retracement would be about $16.50, and you can see that come into play in the aftermarket, maybe 15-20 minutes after the close yesterday, before a secondary move down. So watch out for that level on any kind of a rebound. That's what I'm looking at right now. Also, if we're going to flush to the downside, watching a 14 to 14.50 area for a little bit of a break. So Stitch Fix, another one on the move today. Should be interesting, but it's SSR, short sale restricted. You can't hit that bid. You got to get those upticks or fade into any short you want.
Yeah, I didn't think their quarter was that bad at all.
It actually wasn't. It was really just the guidance.
Now you're down 15 or 40% here on Stitch is what we were at one point. Obviously down 30%. Now, yeah, we are part of the Day Trade the World Network, so great question there. If you do notice the software, it's P-Pro 8, and that is the software that we use here at Day Trade the World, and we trade over 60 different markets, both in live and in simulation. Of course, we're trading in live. We have a floor behind us, 25 or so traders. We'll see if you hear some yelling and screaming. It
Usually
won't be
you do.
necessarily from myself, Neil, or Brendan, but could be from some of the traders in the back. And we'll talk to a couple of the traders today as well. And if you guys want any questions or have any questions for our trading floor, post them in the chat as well. There they are. They're getting ready, locked and loaded, some of them with headphones on. And
caps and
unfortunately,
tubes,
we're not
warm in
wearing
here.
any headphones. But yeah, it's pretty warm in here for sure. We do have John on the bell. We have a really unique bell that lowers right there.
It's
that's not a bad point right there. Look at that.
You got it pretty good there. You nailed it.
Yeah.
I wish they had like a nailed it button, but
a Swiss cowbell. So that's going to be lowered in about a minute to kick off once again what should be a very exciting day. Keep your questions going. Of course, we have Valeria on the ones and twos.
She's all over
She'll
that
be handling
chat.
the chat as well.
Yeah,
You'll
we
see
do.
her on there.
And with just under a minute to go, we do trade futures here, Day Trade the World. We have all the major contracts that you're going to want. Not necessarily not everything, but you're looking at the ES, the S&P. We're going to be able to trade oil futures. So almost everything. You'll see us jump in it from time to time. We're doing a little on the NQ yesterday. A lot of times we'll express those trades in the SPY and the Qs just because it might be a little more simple for us. We got about 30 seconds here. Keep your questions and comments coming.
Rolling,
we're
guys.
all over it. I'm just looking at Oxy right here, down up 25%. So big time bounce relative to the move in crude. But as you mentioned there, we've got John on the bell. He is locked and loaded and ready to go.
From accounting department.
Accounting department, because we love the accounting department, so we let them do whatever they want when it comes to coming to the floor and ringing that little bell. So there is our countdown. 6.
Let's see what we get
5
with here, guys.
4, 3,
good day.
2,
Good luck, everybody.
1. Giddy up. Let's go. Markets are open.
Let's go. Okay, so here we go. Right now, we are not involved with anything. We're waiting for American Airlines to take out $16. That could come very soon. XOM as well. Just waiting for these first couple minutes to settle down.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we may get into a position very shortly.
Slight slide to the downside in the futures. They're not much. I mean, AMD came a couple of pennies down, but nothing too crazy. Now we're possibly bouncing up. I was looking at this 45.60 as an opportunity, but AMD is going to be testing the pre-market lows, despite the fact that we're holding here pretty much steady on the future. So let's watch out. 45 even on AMD. Right now, so trending down. Not much activity in the overall futures. This could be an opportunity to buy. I got a halt here on AIM. It just halted right off of the open. So my break-even stop, we did take 3/4 out for a big win, and then right off the open a flush. But hey, it halts. We got better than that price anyways. We got 440s. This halted at 472. We'll watch that one in about 4 minutes when it opens up.
Yeah, what is AMD doing? AMD just faded down a little bit to 45.20. That's pretty
45.
low right now.
Yeah.
We thought AMD might be going to the top side, but no, not at all.
No. What about
Takes
NVIDIA
out this
here?
pre-market, same thing. Takes out this pre-market low, now heading lower to 345. Through $45. AMD. Wow, there it goes. 45 being defended a little bit, but there it goes. I was going to say defended, but there's the size flushing through.
NVIDIA holding above its pre-market low. So let's watch out there. I mean, certainly it's dropping,
We just
but
went short Microsoft,
not
guys.
nearly as much. We're coming south side on a few names, however. Worth a note here that we expected. Look, you didn't say which way the market was going to go. You
have no idea.
Directions up and down. You have to have levels in both directions, but we're basically in a 4-5 handle range over here in the ES. We're not moving too much.
No, small bit of risk here put on through Microsoft. We go short right now, 156.66. So here it is. There it is, a 40-cent winner right off the bat. This is how we do it. We talked about this trade and gave this one to you. Microsoft in at 66, out right there for 30 pennies. We'll wait to see if it wants to come even further to the downside as the ES rocking and rolling a little bit. I want to put a bid down here. What is this? 156, 155.70. See if we can't catch a clean 60 cents on Microsoft to start the day, guys.
Yeah, and just a quick look over here at look, we've been talking about Carnival for a little bit. They're up 8%, but sliding back down in the pre-market. If we do get a flush, this is not a bad place to jump into the south side trade. And I'm watching here at 23.50 we're at right now, but we have not opened up on the New York on this name. And I see a few names like this where we have not opened for trade. So waiting for the opening print on a few names here.
Yeah, and there goes Microsoft again, guys, double cashing right now. Big win to start the day. Microsoft right away, 23 cents, then 47 cents. We put our order right at 46, and here it comes, straight to the downside, guys. The only thing we have is Microsoft short, 156.66. Hit the confetti right there. Let's see if we bounce off 156. It looks like it's going to do that. Let's put another order down here. We'll see about this market, guys. It could melt up a little bit if it gets above 28.50, but for now, not happening.
Yeah, you're just not seeing a heck of a lot of activity off of the open just yet. You're seeing individual names on the move. I'll go to Roku, which we did talk about pretty heavily. It gave a little bit of a flush through the pre-market bottom. Now recovering
Here go the futures
to
again.
100 even. And now that we're coming upside, do you want to pick some up? In Roku, it just ticked 100 and then came right back down to 99.50. So the spread is still a little bit large. And I'm waiting for a host of names to open up on the NYSE, which is a little bit surprising to me. We're 3 minutes into the open here, and I still have a few names that I was looking at which have yet to have an opening print. I'll give you Stitch Fix, which no bounce in this name. I was looking at that 1450. It looks like it might come into play. I didn't want this one right off of the open, but it looks like it make a secondary push. It's down 30%, so watch out. It's going to be SSR.
Yeah, I like Stitch Fix for sure. What are you guys liking over there on the chat if we've missed any names for you? On average into Microsoft right now. Let's see if this one can't fall back down. Our last fill up there, 157.30. So we are averaging into Microsoft and hoping that this one can make its way back to the downside. And we're going to get out 157.50. I mean, it could break. Again, like we talked about yesterday, you're not going to hold anything, man, when this market is doing this. You have no idea where we're going to go.
Exactly.
We could blow this top, and looks like we may do that soon. You could take this out 158.50 in a second here. So that's why you don't dig in too deep.
A name that we've been all over lately, and just noticing Zoom here with a big move to the downs. All pre-market long, 119, just bottomed out at 110 before bouncing. So Zoom, which had been such a flyer higher. Of course, some coronavirus exposure you think might have a positive effect, and it's been running to the upside, getting as high as almost 130, coming back in rather heavily. Volume light, though, 700,000 shares so far. We are looking to see if we can catch a bouncer. I know that 113 to 114 area was pretty key. Mark talked about looking for those consolidation levels to jump in. That's the price that I'm eyeballing on a pullback. Close yesterday was basically in the middle of that range.
Yeah, looking to see what is popping off here. Walmart up to 119. Of course, that's a big name. Some of the marijuana space is back right now. So some of these names up 10+%, including CGC, and obviously ACB is down at $1 there if you are looking at the US side. Oxy Petroleum up 16%. XOM fading back in. What's up, Brendan?
Another energy name there to have a look at, guys. OVV here was gapping higher with crude oil, held $4 in the pre-market there, right back to $3 off the open. So very weak for Ovintiv. Price target cut on this one as well, which is outside of the rest of the energy group as well. Also, that AIM halt still halted. That's an additional information request, guys.
Okay, look, that's important. You know, assuming sometimes you get a volatility halt, you see the opening spike. I saw see the down candle, but it's not, guys. Back to the south side comes the AMD below that 45. So looks like we could be headed southbound here on the second break. I'm going to jump in here. I thought we'd go up, but look at the weakness we're seeing off of the open. We'll try this short in front of that pre-market low. That's that 45. The first time you don't want it. The second time we do like it. We're coming down 28.30 on the NASDAQ. First real break in the market here.
Beautiful trade, guys. I hope you guys had that with me. Look at Microsoft, our last short. I gave that to you 157.30. It's at 156 even, guys. This is $1.40 in the money right now. The only stock I've been trading today. Here goes Microsoft, $1.50 in the money. We're short 157.30. You want winners? Here we go, guys. Microsoft, look at this. In there, out, averaged on this pullback up, and then crashing back down. Right now, Microsoft making these lows, guys. This is $1.70 in the money.
Here comes the NQ. We just broke the pre-market bottom. There goes AMD, and again, you throw the fireworks there. You see that weakness to the downside. AMD. Here we go. Basically the same type of move, but look at that. Look at that top in the afternoon. This is what I'm eyeballing here. It's about 44.36. I had this written down, so this is probably going to be where I want to jump out of this trade. Again, you're watching the NQ slide to the downside. First major move was that 8,200 break. So the stock's flushing to the downside. Again, we're still up 2.6%, but the lack of continuation to the upside off the open, maybe that pertains to weakness.
Yeah, this guy's got this one. Where we go? Here we go. Yeah, we've got this one. Microsoft, $1.80 right now in the money as we continue to fall down. Our best out right now, 155.50. We take it out in front of that even 50 cents. Now we only have 10% left. This is tanking downside right now. Big time winner for this guy on Microsoft. I hope you guys had that with us. We talked about Microsoft off the open that we wanted this name. Weren't sure the direction. Found it short. Made that first trade. Had to hold it against us about 50 or so cents, where we averaged back in at 157.30, and now we rewarded with this $1.40 winner. So we're almost out of this one. We'll regroup and find more winners for you.
Yeah, you guys are going to want to watch out. We talked about that AIM. It's the information request. Let's watch out on some of those other coronavirus names, which seem to have slowed down as that halt came in. I mean, Codex was off to the races at the open and then slammed down and has basically been holding steady. So I'm going to watch this closely. Eyeballs on this 870 area, which is like 10 pennies away. That low was at 820, but if it breaks this, you might actually get a flush into that low. I do like that opportunity as the futures continue to slide to the downside. I still have some shares in AMD at 44.75, but I'm looking at Square and Roku. Both these names fall into the downside a little more than we expected.
I was looking at 102 for long on Roku, and now it's down to 98, but we still got only one trade for me, guys, so far, and it's been a doozy. We still have that Microsoft name short side. I am looking for Roku, though, but it's way off any of these levels right here. Yesterday we did, if we zoom this back out, we did close yesterday. Where was the final price? Ooh, 96. Okay, so we're a little off from that. The low of the day right now, 98. If we think these futures are going to get worse, Roku may be a nice name to short here, breaking through 98 to the downside. Microsoft, we still have that one on board. We're looking to get some more exposure to the short side, but I want to make sure that we're on the right names. I missed XOM breaking through. Unfortunately, Unfortunately, 44.50 was the level I was on. Too busy making dollars on Microsoft. But XOM, 44.50, should have been shorted, right down to 43.86 right
and
now.
speaking of 44.50, interesting price. 44.50 on AMD holding right now, so we can break through there. We'll try to take this short off. But Brendan, what do you have for us, buddy?
I was just going to mention TeamViewer, traded over in Germany, guys. Share offering today, big move to the downside. This is actually a Treasury ETF, but thought there might be an ADR in the U.S., but not so much. TMV is a Treasury ETF moving higher, guys.
All right.
Good look there, Brendan. And immediately, we do have that break in Codex. It breaks at 870. We grab some at 65. Going to look to take this out all the way down to that 820 bottom that we had. Again, you get that halt over in AIM, AIM, and then this one's sliding to the downside here. So this one should work out rather nicely. Already at 850, so working in the money almost instantly here. This was making a move to the upside. You catch that halt in AIM, and then it slides back down. It looks like it wants to retest those lows. It's a futures holding 81.60 on the NQ here, but just watching the ES. Hasn't gotten to that 28.20 mark, which was the bottom in the pre-market. We'll have a quick look at that, but we'll go with some floss action because I like to do the dance there. And this is what it's all about, that Codex. I'm waiting for that AIM to get that information. We'd love to see what's going on in that stock.
So here goes Softy, guys. It's just a $2 winner, so it's nothing big here. Microsoft right now down to 155.40. We'll see what this wants to do, but big $2 winner right here, guys.
There we go. Arrows down. We talked about this one. We talked about the halt in AIM. We said watch out on the way back in Codex. You can express the trade there. Yep. We're going to slap this one off here. Second exit at 803, so you're grabbing a 62-cent win. We've already crushed a couple of these names on the way back. We talked about the retracement short. The party possibly over. We're still 70 cents in the money. We're going to go to the daily here to give you an idea of how far this thing has come and where it could go. It's not going to get to $5 unless something crazy does happen here, but I'm looking to see if we can get over $1 on this last little bit. I will go with a trailing stop concept. I'll watch it, monitor it. If it goes back above 8, see if we can lock in about 65 pennies. We're over $1 in the money right now on Codex. So AIM, Codex, both of these names. There's a halt. And AIM is halted. Codex is now halted after a $1 retracement. We're short at 865. It halts at 763. I'll take that all day, every day.
Codex, oh my God, yeah. I tried to grab shares there through that halt, but obviously I'll have to cancel that. Yeah, okay. Microsoft, you see the futures coming straight to the downside here, so we're in a softy short. We like that. We'll see if that one pays off again, going short right around here, 155.70 and change off this market move to the downside. As expected, we talked about. I thought maybe for the first 5 minutes we would start going up and then we would fade, but we actually fade basically right away. What do you have for us, Brendan?
Apache, guys, crude oil coming back to the downside a little bit, looking a little weak. Apache breaking this low here, 11.20, immediately down $1 for APA. So oil a little bit weak. Some of the individual names as well, guys.
Yeah, holding below that 34, but like AIM opens back up. It opens, it closed at 473, opens around $4, ticks to 380. I think this is going to bode well for Codex, hopefully, as that reopens. If I get a flush on the reopen and it's lower than our price, $1 in the money, I'll certainly take the rest off. You don't need to look a gift horse in the mouth. I love to say that there, Sean, but plan so far to the short side on these coronavirus names. I'll jump back to AMD. There was a big buyer there at 44.50. When it broke, I took it out. We were going to grab that little 35-40 cent win on AMD. Again, just not flushing with the same pace that I think the market was coming off. So we'll slide it out of that short and sort of note that AMD, for at least a little bit, is holding up kind of well. But for me, I'm glued to Codex when that reopens. It should be about 3 or 4 minutes or so.
Yeah, we're experiencing the same thing here. Microsoft very, very strong. You can see the market dropping here pretty hard, and we just continue to build a short in Microsoft. Probably not a great move as it is resisting this move down. But as you can see on the chart, though, it doesn't stop me from shorting. We just shorted 90s and 99s, and what a surprise, 30 cents right away in the money. But we're going to wait to see, man. I don't know. This one could get exciting to the top side now. I still am looking at this 158.20 if the market does get going. But for now, we're just going to take off this quick 30 pennies.
And Zoom turns on a dime at 113.50. 113.75 was the middle of the range we gave you on that pullback. I was too busy looking at those coronavirus names. But Brendan, what do you got for us, buddy?
Another one to add to the list, guys. SPEX, huge move higher yesterday. We got to 560, right back down to 230 today. This one's been halted twice already. Another virus name, guys.
Yeah, it's halted twice, but I mean, basically holding too tight of a range for down 28%. Yeah. Look at the moves you just see in Codex to the downside, and you saw an aim to the downside. I'm not saying this one can't be good, but basically holding its pre-market range, which is a bit of a tricky trade. It's easy to get chopped up, and we're not trying to get chopped up. We're trying to work. We're trying to work some magic here. Yeah. You jump over to Roku. I know we've been looking at this. It just bounced off of $98. So if you wanted something which is looking weak as the market approaches 2,800, Roku's trying to make a bounce. I suppose if we stay down here, are you fading off of 100 even? If we get a rally, I probably still like the same prices, and you're now getting a better one.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, Roku, I can't believe how low that one went. Microsoft right now in trouble a little bit. We talked about how strong it was against the futures. Should have reversed short. We're light on this name. If it can come back down, we will be getting some out down here. We don't need our profits to disappear on us. But right now, we'll see 156 and change. Microsoft very strong. I'm very nervous here. If this market does battle back, I think I found a name that I like to the long side, and it's going to be Microsoft. But for right now,
oh my goodness,
it's back above 156.
We talked about Oxy. We said the weakness in Oxy. You get that hold below 34 in oil, and we're halted down $3 here on Oxy. Look, this is probably what we should have had. I mean, this is why you follow along in the morning. Brendan, what do you got?
Another one in the energy group, guys. We mentioned this one yesterday, down almost 50% on the day yesterday. Can trade this one in Toronto. This is in New York for Cenovus Energy. Just went from 375 down to 280 in a straight line as well. So weakness in oil, all these names coming back to the downside, guys.
Yeah, I mean, there was a trader here was talking about why are we up so much in the rebound in oil, and some of those names, and again, XOM is down as well, but look, we talked about it relatively with Mark. Look at it with reference to the other weaker names in the space. I'll look at Whiting, which is down 13%. We just looked at Oxy, which is halted down. I actually think you can take WLL here in front of a buck and just sort of short it as long as we hold below that 34 in oil futures. So that looks pretty good to me. AMD is bouncing back here towards that 45, and I mentioned why we took this off and the relative strength. We get a bounce shy of 2,800. Maybe we're going to retake this 45 even. I don't love this unless I'm determined that we're an upward trend here. And I'm still waiting for Codex to reopen. It has actually been 5 minutes, so a little bit surprised that we haven't opened up. It should happen any second now.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit nervous. I'm dropping some of these Microsofts up here on this average price. It's going to be basically a flat trade on our last little bit here. Here it comes right back down. We're short 156.17, so I lied. Here we go, right back down into the money now. Microsoft seems to want to turn around up there. I was not expecting that. It was such a strong stock, so we will see. XOM missing the boat on that stock, though, guys.
Yeah, and then AMD turns around on a dime as well, so it just made a move back down off of 45, and watching that one very closely. And I still have not opened back up on Codex. The other name we're going to keep tracking until it does open, of course, is going to be Occidental. Oh, there we go. It actually just opened up at the low, so down still at 13.23. We talked about the weakness in oil. $3 move to the downside. We'll watch this one. If it can catch any kind of a bounce, it could get very, very interesting here. Still wanted to be short side on Oxy.
Yeah, and the missed price is what I'm talking about here on XOM. 44.50 was just so huge right here. Was the bottom, 44.70, and I love the 50 levels all the way back down here to 43. So that's a huge, huge missed opportunity. Here goes Microsoft. We're short 156.17. We've just been massaging this trade. We got out on the top side when that was starting to break upside. The futures, though, fading back down once again right now. So we're going to see a little bit here. Microsoft still super, super strong. I got to get off this. If I was short anything else, guys, we would be monstrous. But right now, we picked the wrong one in Microsoft.
Brendan.
A name that's been relatively strong, guys, over this entire move down in the market. Have a look at the daily chart here on C Limited. This is an e-commerce name, up 7% today. Look at this daily chart. It's held up really well through this entire move down. We've gone from 47.80 up to 49.5 on C Limited today, guys.
C definitely worth a look, and another ticker beginning with an S. Stitch Fix with a bit of a bounce here off of its low. It didn't break that 14. That's what we were looking for a downside break. Doesn't happen. Takes out the pre-market top there at 15.50. The reason I didn't like that, we looked at that 50% retracement area. We looked at the post-market action yesterday, saw 16.50. Both those things coincided. We just stalled out at the top here, but 25 cents short of that. You're looking for a break through that price, or you're looking for failure through that price to maybe jump back into the short. So that's what we're working with. it's a volatility halt in Codex. We've been halted for now 7 minutes. I'm still waiting for that to open up. I am short at 865. It halted at 763. So depending on what happens here, if it comes to the upside heavily, I'll probably just take it off. If it's enough of a flush to the downside, I still think I'll also take profits. If it's flat, I'll wait it out.
Yeah, we just took some more profits on Microsoft right there. It did break down below 156. So our short at 17 was taken off there about 156. So we're going to see now, it was 22-cent winner there. We're going to take the rest off very, very shortly. I'm actually looking for a rebound here in the futures. And if they do, I mean, don't know if the futures are going to rebound, but if they do, I think I found my stock. I like Microsoft to the long side here. It's been very, very strong today. Still holding up despite what the market is doing. So that's going to be my one right now. That's all that I've traded today. To be honest with you, I do like Intel. We talked about that with one of our traders on the floor as well. Apple 277 right now, possibly another name to look at.
Yeah, and having a quick look at AMAT as well. Of course, Mark bringing that name to us, which we actually immediately liked. It's trading just below that 54, but holding up, somewhat nicely. We get a little dip in the futures, but if we are bottoming out here, and we come back to the upside, I do like a retrace of that 54 even price, which looks pretty juicy off the open. Going to want to watch out here. I'm seeing the spread open up every now and then, and it hasn't touched 1 million shares. So this is why sometimes you can be more comfortable with an AMD over at 11 million shares. Similarly priced, much more liquidity. Our good friend Brendan, what do you have for us?
Just looking at Bionanogenomics, guys, BNGO, back to the upside today. They threw their hat into the whole coronavirus vaccine race this morning as well, saying that they've now started to look at developing a vaccine for COVID-19, guys.
Absolutely, and just looking at AIM is halted again. It just came back off the bottom, 360 to 440, so the moves continue to happen there, DAX. Look, if you're not comfortable trading those coronavirus names, I know they can move around, and there's certainly a lot of volatility in them. You're seeing multiple halts. Certainly worth a while. If you want to learn, just watch. I'll be trading a few of these names. You can sort of follow along if you do want to do that, but both AIM and Codex halted right now. Let's kick it to Valeria, our chat maestra.
Thanks, guys, and hello, everyone. I wish you a great trading day. And wow, market is so volatile right now, and no one really knows what to expect. So I'm pretty sure you have your opinion on that, or maybe you need some recommendations. So go to the chat right now. I'm leading the live chat, and ask us questions, and let's communicate. Back to you guys.
All right, yes, hit us up ASAP if you have any questions. I reversed long into Microsoft right now, so that's the position that I'm working out right now. I thought that if the futures did want to get going here, Microsoft might be one to take. So right now, we'll work our way into this long and try to build a stronger position here as it's going.
And we open back up on Codex. I'll take it off. You just see the execution there, 746 we got. So that's going to end up being a $1.20 plus winner on the last quarter of those shares. Now, the last third of those shares. And ultimately, it might head back to the downside, but it did get as low as 716 before coming back up. Part of the reason why I wanted to cover this is I saw AIM halting on the way back up, and I didn't want to sort of get caught if this makes a move to the upside. You're already looking at such a fantastic opportunity. There was the gap down consolidation, which you could have taken in the pre-market, which we did on AIM. You had that at $9 if you take it, but you had the 870 break as well, which was a play because we were in AIM. We waited for this one, 870 off the open. You're going to get a fantastic move down. When these come in, they can be better than on the way up, and I know there's opportunities on the way up, and that's great, the breakouts, but sometimes you got to be willing to sell them off when they come down.
Yeah, oh, for sure. And this is what we're doing right now. We're trying to find some value here in some of these stocks. I think we got one a little bit, at least in Microsoft. So we're going to wait, start digging into some positions right now. 156.50 is where we are right now on Microsoft, guys. I like it, but not sure again. It's kind of throwing me for a loop. It was strong when the market was coming down. Now the market's coming, flat a little bit, and this is hovering. So we'll build into this position. I like it.
There's too many halts around here. I mean, wow, volatility is crazy. Oxy opens up. By the time I get back to it, it's already bounced $1.50 to the upside and halted again. Brendan, what do you got?
A little energy name if you're looking for one kind of lower priced, ENBL here. One of the biggest percentage decliners yesterday, up today, 62%, but also coming back to the downside, just sitting here right at $3, guys. Interesting level for ENBL.
ENBL, going to quickly add that to my list, and I see Aqua, welcome back. We noticed you there from yesterday. You're looking at Nike.
Come on.
As far as the retailer goes, you're gonna see it somewhat holding up relatively well. That being said, look how much we've come off of. I like Mark's advice of watching for consolidation points and thinking that those are going to be good buy areas. I'm not really sure what your time horizons is. If you're talking about a day trade or a swing trade, if you've got that short on right now at 91, I mean, you do have what should be a bit of resistance on the way back up at $89 or so, and we're like $3 away from that. It seems like something that you can probably hang on to. It's up to you what your risk parameters are. It does look like it's a good spot if you think we're going to have a further slide. And the way the market's been going, you get 2,000 down, you get 1,000 up. That's kind of, we're headed to the downside.
Yeah, that's where it's going right now. And hit the air horn right there. Hopefully you guys were buying softy with us down there at the bottom. We're long 156.30. We just cashed them out 60s, 70s up here. These are those little red marks. You can see where we were buying Microsoft down here at the bottom. We did take it once it did break VWAP there the first time. Averaged in, we talked about that, massaging that trade. Now we go straight to the upside. So this is another 25 penny winner on Microsoft once again. So we're basically 3 for 3 on this stock. Let's just keep going to the top side here. The futures maybe can carry this thing, but it's still not moving as much as I thought it would. You get a nice little bounce off 2,800 here for the ES, and it's moving okay. Microsoft, want to see you get to 157 or so, but a good trade so far on Microsoft. It's just a 25-cent winner, but we're looking for some more, guys. Here's 35 cents right now.
Yeah, catching a bounce here in a few names. Carnival somehow participating as well. It just bottomed at 22.80, up to about 80 pennies off the bottom, far, far away from the breakout, which was to the downside here at 23.20. This is the price I'm looking at to maybe get a short trade. If we fail to get past that 8,200 or sustain a move, Carnival's a name that I'd like to be shorting. We're going to look at those airline plays because I know we talked about that. Basically, right back and look at American Airlines. Right at this 1560, there was an iceberg order in the pre-market. There was a break to the upside. There was a flush through this price. You're 4 cents away from this key price area. If you get an 8,200 break and this 1560, you gotta kind of like this to the long side, at least to try it out. You can get to 16 even before you have any kind of resistance there. So I'm jumping at 1561.
I like AAL. We should have picked it up a little bit lower. But right now, explode the money if you're with me trading Microsoft today. Who knows how well you're doing? I hope you're doing as well as we are. Microsoft right now, 55 penny winner. Brendan, what's up, buddy?
You guys are talking about the airlines there. Another one to have a look at here. FedEx, obviously moving back to the upside today, 4.5%. Nice move. Just checked out UPS as well, but 3.8%. So FedEx a little bit stronger to the upside, guys.
Okay, add FedEx to the list. I mean, we just looked at AAL here. Again, what I'm looking for is the futures to make that run to 8,200. You're looking at that break to what was an iceberg order before. You can give this one to 2 levels. If you like 1550 for a tight stop, fine. You have the previous pre-market bottom there at 1535. You're risking 25 cents there if that's your case. Either way, I'm looking to take some profit off in front of the high, see if we can hang on to this one a bit. They're up 6% and recovering, but this is about a play in a nice retracement. There could be some buying stepping into this. I also think there's at least an outside chance that there will be some relief in the travel and airlines, which didn't happen in Trump's speech.
Yeah, guys, I mean, I don't know what else to say here. We'll hit this cowbells. Microsoft, the only name I'm looking at today, and it's a 75-cent winner once again for you guys. So there we go. Can we break through 157? We made lots of money on the short. Now we're back making even more on the long, guys. Just cashed out 65, actually not more. We made $1.50, almost $2 on the short, but now we're in the money, another 70 cents on the long, and we're almost out, guys. 20% of our position left. We've just been cashing out ahead of this 157. Once again, another winner right there. Let's just keep rocking and rolling. The futures not moving too much. We're back to 28.20. We'll wait to see what's happening. I'm waiting for Microsoft to break through 157. Hopefully that can happen, boys.
And just got to reopen there on Occidental. We just got back above 34 very, very briefly in oil. But quick look, Oxy opening back up lower, so it got up to 1369. Now it's looking like it wants to try to head southbound. It's holding very well at the bottom end of the range here. So look, you're not really seeing much of a bounce as much as the futures are coming back here above that 8,200. So now that we make that break, I can look to take some profits off here on American Airlines. We grab that long, but coming the other way continuously is Oxy. This is going to be a place where I feel like any weakness, this is where you want to be shorting.
And here comes $1 for you on Microsoft. So once again, again, I told you about that 157 break. We identified that it was strong down here. All of these are buys. Buy. Tons of buys down here in the 156 range. We're now at 157.07. So we're waiting for a clean dollar. Right now, 157.013 would be the clean dollar move. Maybe we're getting a little greedy. We'll take this out very, very soon, but only 20% of the position left. And guess what, guys? Big time winner raining through. Here comes our favorite time of the day, Valeria.
Running low.
Whoa. Yeah,
oh, there we go. Be very, very careful.
Thank you, Valeria.
Thank you very much. You know what just occurred to me?
To lots of winners.
We don't actually have a contingency plan if we spill stuff on our keyboards. That would get very, very interesting, but we're not going to do it.
I have some napkins here.
I'll tell you what's a little bit surprising to me. It shouldn't be too surprising. We saw the flush on the open. We noted this in Zoom. Man, it's holding that weakness pretty big here. And we just stalled out back below that 8,200. So for me, that means I will take off in front of the high, that AAL trade, 60s in, 75 to 85 scalp. You did have that 16 high in the pre-market. But watch Zoom through 110 and continuing to flush. It turned on a dime at that in front of that previous day's close, 113.75. We gave a range of resistance. Yeah. The trouble with a range of resistance, if you get picky and you don't want to have it run through you, you want to be shorting at the top end to get a better price. But I'll tell you right now, the spread was opening up there. You really did have to get aggressive. Look at this flush. Zoom from the pre-market top is now down $10. 4% on the session, but $10 move from the top of the pre-market. Insanity. As fast as it went up, it's coming back in.
Yeah, Zoom is zooming up there, and that's a coronavirus name for sure. I know, for example, I was talking with our guest, Jeff Mendel, today. He's on coronavirus lockdown right now, so that's why he was going to be here via Zoom today, and we'll
oddly enough
organized at 10:30. So Jeff will be coming through. A lot of companies right now doing that, and yeah, we are using the Peeperway platform. You can Google daytradetheworld.com or just use that as put that right into your.
But it is proprietary.
Right there it is. DTTW.com. It's our own software, and I've been using it for 17 years. And like I said, I've accessed over 63 markets if you are exactly interested. Okay, here we go. You roll the dice a little bit with Mr. Softy. Wheel of Fortune coming straight to you. Now we are going to be in the money once again. Another dollar. I'm still waiting for that. We did take a little bit off in the 70s for 60 cents. We're going to go higher now. 156. I might just cancel this. We'll see. Only 10%. Small spot left on Microsoft. But man, have we crushed Mike? There it is. There's the clean dollar on Softy. Man, we crushed this one today. We are ready at the big screen, though, with Brendan. Let's see what he's got.
Hey guys, 10 o'clock, nicely back into positive territory. Let's have a look at North American markets here. We're still holding on to better part of 3% here for the S&P 500 to the upside. Was noting banks very strong, guys. Have a look at Goldman and JPM moving back to the upside. They were among the leaders to the downside yesterday, but banks doing well. Yeah, S&P 2.8%, 2.9% for the Dow, NASDAQ as well, about the same, around that 3% move to the upside for tech stocks. Russell not so good. Only 1.5% for small caps today. We're seeing a lot of those reverse course coming back in once again. Here in Toronto, 2.7% for the TSX. It's all about energy names here in Toronto today, although a lot of those are coming back to the downside along with the price for crude oil. Down in Brazil, like to check out with the BOVESPA, 3.3% to the upside. That thing was down 12% yesterday, so not a significant bounce for Brazil stocks. Yeah, MEG Energy here still holding on to 8.8%, but huge move back down after we got open. So tag 330 up here. We're all the way back to 250 for MEG. In Toronto, another one, Cenovus here. We showed you the one in New York. This is traded here in Toronto, up 5%. But again, we opened at 520 all the way down to 390. This thing consolidating nicely at the day lows, looking like it might want to break even further. CPG, another one, 10% move still to the upside. But again, 210 all the way down to 170, looking pretty weak along with crude prices. If you want to have a look at some cannabis names, Afria doing a little bit better than the rest at the moment, but cannabis name is not terribly active. Checked out MindMed as well, guys, back to the upside today. We're positive. Finally, back over to you.
All right.
Thanks a lot there, Brendan. Yeah, it is back positive. We talked about that name. they've had a very, very successful run early on here, it does seem like. And we talked about 8,200, sorry, going back to the futures here. We are bouncing continuously. I just watched AMD break through 45. I've been one and done, but you're watching Softy moving the markets. And keep in mind here, you are seeing slightly the NASDAQ lead things, and you notice a name like Microsoft up significantly more, at least in the last 20 minutes, than some of the other names you're watching bounce here.
Neil, this was about as easy as it gets, guys. Microsoft, we talked about it. We were pounding you guys down here at 156, talking about buying this name, talking about how it was stronger versus the rest of the market. I hope the traders behind us heard that. Right now, Microsoft, $1.70 short we already took. And guess what? This is $1.60 winner to the long side. We're long 156.13 right now. Let's wait to see if we get to 158.20. We only have 10% of the position on, so it's a little small winner, but Microsoft continues to get owned today by yours truly. This seems to be a coincidence. What is this bottom here? 157.52. So we break back down below 157.50, then ho-hum, we'll take $1.30 winner. Other than that, we'll let this thing continue to rise up, making money on these names, guys. I hope you're trading Microsoft with us. Here we go. Microsoft for the win. Sometimes it is just that easy, guys.
It's interesting enough here, and we talked about AMAT off of the open. It is just not moving. You get that nice bounce in the futures here. It's not a huge one, but AMAT is holding around the bottom. I still was looking at that 54. We're not even getting close to it here. So we're going to put this one away. File it away as I want to say relatively weak, but I don't want to go that far. I'm just not going to be trading it to the long side. I do look at the nice little rebound that we're seeing in AMD. It's about to retest that pre-market bottom around that 45.10 area. Before we get to that, Brendan, what do you have for us there, bud?
Hudix name, I should say, CompuGen, guys. CGen back to the upside again today. This thing's been very, very strong as well. Breaking to, guess what, 52-week highs up here, 15% to the upside. They released positive data on a study they're conducting on tumor treatment, guys.
Okay, CGen, why not? We can have a look at that one. Again, you're going to be adding some of these to your quote board, but I want to talk about AYTU. I believe Brendan did give this one to us. It was a second ago, well, not a second ago, but earlier in the session, it was up 300+%. Multiple halts later, another one of these flushes. I was a little bit too slow to get to this one when it reopened. You had to basically catch the opening print on the reopen to get it above 110 or so. It's now flushed back below $1, continuing to slide. This was a 35-cent stock yesterday. Now back down. So a lot of these names on the move. Oxy back down below 13 as well.
Guys, we're going to hit the smile key right here because there it is, guys. We take off Microsoft again for a nice little move there. We get out, what an out. 157.50 before it drops down to 25 again. So great out for Microsoft, stopping the day. You can see the profits that we're taking on some of these names down below. We're trading, obviously, real markets here, real money, and hosting the show. And we have some big guests coming through to you. Jeff Mendel from OTC Markets will be coming.
Good timing to get here.
We'll be talking to him about Bitcoin, about some of the Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac moving around a little bit, 10 cent moving around. The names obviously do not stop.
Yeah, Dick's Sporting Goods, we talked about this. We only ever look at it when it has earnings, making a bit of a range that could pertain to a breakout here. So watch out, 37.25-ish, it looks like to the upside. This little bottom here about $1 lower. So it's a wide range for a $37 name. So I think you have to size accordingly if you're going to take that break. Hey, Portugal and Denmark, yeah, why not? Absolutely love it. Two places I have not visited, but I do have, I'm like 1/8 Portuguese or something like that on my mother's side. So there you go, Portugal. But I'm still an England fan when it comes to football.
Okay, what's up, Brendan?
Safety Group, guys, a name we traded way back when. I remember trading this thing in the teens. It must have been way back when. But yeah, Safety Group is now apparently $2 stock. They announced some remote access for companies, obviously in a battle to fight COVID-19. So they're a software company. They are now developing a platform for employees to be able to log in remotely, guys.
Good look there, Brendan. So again, Brendan continuously giving us other names to look at. Yep. Maybe there'll be stocks that halt that we don't notice, and he's all over. I mean, wow, market coming back to the upside here.
To the upside as well.
Yeah, I just looked at AMD. You get that 45.10 area break. It wasn't very, very clean, but we are now headed back towards our opening price, which is 45.40. As the futures are climbing towards. Wow. Again, there was some consolidation to 28.40. We're maybe 10 handles away from there. It's not necessarily the volatility that we were expecting or have been getting recently, but it is a nice bounce back. It's $1 from the bottom on AMD. You already saw what Microsoft's been doing, Apple as well, off that bottom $5. I can tell you what is having trouble, in addition to Occidental, which we've mentioned. Zoom is still getting absolutely crushed here, and it really hasn't made any kind of a base. It bounced off 107, can't get back to that 110 level. It is still down from pre-market highs of 119. So after the fantastic rise, you're still seeing this one under pressure. I kind of wanted to have a long in this one at some point. Maybe you're looking at a retake of that 110 area. Maybe you have to find a longer base. Either way, we don't have to rush into this one. There's plenty of time for a bounce with stronger stocks to look at.
Lots of time for a bounce. And here goes Microsoft. We played that one obviously a little bit wrong, as Microsoft now breaking back to the upside. So we take the $1.50, but hopefully you guys can have that one and capture some of these profits a little better than I did. The top side here, 158.27. We've absolutely destroyed Microsoft today. It's the only name I've been trading. I am switching over to Apple right now a little bit. The high of the day, this 280.60-ish. We'll see if we can go long. If it takes that down, then we'll take that off to the races as well. CGC, of course, we talked about that a little bit with weed names. And here comes Weed Batman. Guess, watch out for it. There it is. CGC, wow, how low is this? $14. Wow. Still up another 10% though. Today we'll look for some levels for you and trade CGC. Wondering what you guys are trading out there. I see shout outs.
We haven't even looked at Tesla.
Mike from Vancouver. Let us know what you guys are on. Oh, there it is. Yeah, there's a little note on Tesla. I should have pulled my bid yesterday at 600.
600.
That would have been a quick little 10% in the money. Thank God I picked up some Google late in the day and some Microsoft late in the day, but missed out on Tesla long. But we'll check it out for it.
Yeah, 640 was a decent level previously, so the fact that we bounce off there, probably a bit of a coincidence. That's going to coincide with that 2,800 more than anything else. You want to short it again. I hate to break the news to you. You're going to have to watch what's going to go on in the NQ today. Again, the market is driving a lot of these moves. I would look for some key levels. I did like. You look at the pre-market top here, and I've loved that level for a while, the 680 to 700 area, especially if you extend into that. So if you get any kind of a sustained rally, and then maybe you get like a lunchtime lull, and you're around those prices. That's not a horrible for a day trade spot. Otherwise, you want to wait for the momentum to jump in here, and we're getting this slight bounce to the upside. So I think your timing, I wouldn't jump in right now to the short. I think you want to wait a little bit. But we are ready for some key information, some upgrades and downgrades.
Let's go.
Some interesting moves once again today, guys, as far as upgrades and downgrades go. Let's have a look at a few of them here. I want to point out this one down here first off. Upgrades, downgrades, that side still in positive territory mostly, even with downgrades today. But SM Energy, 17.2% to the upside. Again, one of the biggest decliners yesterday in the oil group, bouncing back to the upside. So we'll have a look at that one in a second. Ryder, First Energy, and Cree. Among the others here, Ryder having a nice day, 7.25%. Carnival Cruises catching another downgrade. The entire group got downgraded today, but Carnival still holding on to a decent gain there. The rest, pretty muted. Let's have a look at some individual charts here as far as energy stocks. Again, this was one of the biggest decliners yesterday, bouncing back to the upside, still holding 17% here to the upside. We've gone from about 225, 230 off the open there at the high, all the way down to 150. So kind of consolidating here for SM Energy right at day lows. We'll shift over to Carnival Cruise. Big flush out. This was a really nice trade at the open. Carnival Cruise through the pre-market open there, or pre-market low, I should say, 23.40. Got all the way down to 21.5 on that flush to the downside. Nice little consolidation though, about halfway back for CCL, guys. To look at some of the upgrades and downgrades today. Back over to you.
There's Apple, guys. We talk about taking that as it breaks through the top. Long, 280.62. We just took off yet again another 30 pennies. If you're here, guys, I hope you're following some of these trades. Ricardo, here we go. Long, once again, another 40
We just got to that
winner.
Consolidation area, that 28.40 in the NASDAQ. I talked about Zoom and that little base it made. It breaks out through the top, finally at 109. And we picked that one up at 109.09. Already $1 in the money. VWAP retracement is going to give you $2 on that trade. Now remember, we like that 113.75 area-ish. So I'll definitely be out taking this profit at the 112, at 111 if we can get it. You're getting that bounce in the future. We can sustain this move through this 28.40 to 28.50. Watch out to the upside. We're just going to note here, SFET, yet another one of these halts is coming in, but $1.50 now in the money on Zoom. Finally, it catches a bit of a bounce. Look at that flush that it had all morning long, but it's been been such a strong
I'm
stock
going to take
lately.
off. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to take off some Apple right now. This is $1 in the money as well. We did take a little bit off here for 40 cents. You guys saw that. Now Apple to the upside. Here comes $1 right now. 280.62 we're long at. This name, you guys like Microsoft's, Apple's, Zoom's. Great names to trade. And as we go to the top side here, let's see exactly how high we can get on some of these names as the tech space seems to be zooming right now. But welcome, Codex. Exactly. The problem with Codex was I missed that 825. It happened during the halt. I was trying to get a couple hundred shares right here.
I'm gonna be kicking myself over this one. We took it out when it basically came back up. We were holding it through the first halt. It comes back up. So I said if it tried to test back to the upside, I would take the profits $1.20. You know, unfortunately, that's going to happen to you sometimes, and I didn't re-enter. But this is the break you should be looking at here. You watch the range that it makes at 715. It doesn't get past the pre-halt bottom of 760. Once it holds that range and breaks out, that's a trade you should be looking for. So, you know, I just put a trailing stop in there on Zoom, and it immediately hits. Is we turn around at that 28.40, and that's what I was sort of afraid of. So we're going to lock in the dollar on Zoom. We'll hit the slap shot because I guess we're showing the Leafs some love. They need all the help that they can get. But Codex, these are all halting to the downside. We talked about shorting this space overall and the opportunities that would be there. AIM has yet to make, it's made a couple of pushes to the downside, but it does have another leg that it could do here at 360. We're looking at lots of liquidity. You hop to the daily chart. Apologies, it's not really loading up, so I'll go to my 3-minute. Going to show you that if it wants to break through this bottom here, is a lot of chop through $3. So I would temper your expectations on AIM if it breaks 360. You might run into some chop between that and $3 even. Codex was very, very clean to the downside.
Codex was nice, yeah. And there's Apple, guys, finally hit the swish. This is $1.20 now in the money. Apple long 280.62. We talked about taking it through the high of the day at that time, and now you're straight to the upside as the futures continue to grow. Guys, hit that like button, hit subscribe. Everything, get back to us tomorrow. We're back tomorrow. Here's $1. We just talked about that. Hit the confetti on Apple. Microsoft obviously to the roof as well. We've been, destroying these two big caps today for you. The only mistrade that I really did have was that Codex waiting for 825 and obviously didn't cross down enough. Was SSR. We talked about that. You got to make sure that you hit that. But right now, nice winners all abound right here on Trader TV Live. Hit that like button. We want that support, guys.
And jump into the comments. We'll talk about any name that is interesting to you. We have access to basically anything you can look at. Trust me. That AYTU did halt and just open back up. It's looking like it wants to retest $1. I will probably jump back into the short if it wants to do that. We like this one to the south. It's still up 200%, but the volume is amazing. 43 million as the futures bouncing off that 28.40. We thought there could be some chop there. We haven't extended any moves yet, either upside or downside since the open. So there's still a lot of room. If you look at where volatility is, you're expecting 100-handle days. We haven't had it yet, but there's a lot of trading day left. I got my eyeballs so far mostly on the coronavirus space, with the exception of AMD, which is fantastic, AAL, which is a nice long, and then Zoom, which I'll probably jump back to, but has not been as strong as some of these other bounce plays.
We are ready for Brendan to give us another name, bud.
Yet another virus stock name, guys. We've traded this one many times. NVAX holding up a little bit stronger than the rest as well. Still 6.8% to the upside here. We broke 11 on the way back down here, but holding 1075, about 1060, the day low. NVAX still positive in relation to the rest, guys.
Look, I mean, there's going to be a million of these names. Unbelievable. I mean, look at that trend to the downside without halting. So this is going to be clean, continuous trade, giving you all the pullbacks in real time. And man, look at these levels. Fail. NVAX is a name we've been all over. I don't know how it is that I'm shorting in Codex and AIM and not shorting in NVAX. Certainly you could have had this one multiple times off the open. It gives you this breakout through 12. At this point, you are watching that bottom to get taken out at 1050. It's still up on the session, so a whole positive to negative story could come into play here. Watch out. Much like AIM, it's very, very close to where it was doing the bulk of its trading, and you should see volume around $10 yesterday in the bottom of the session. So you're only getting about 50 cents worth of a downward action before you get into that chop zone.
Yeah, Apple gave us a little bit of a scare there, coming down to 280.50. That'll be where we'll get out of this one. It's bouncing around a little bit. We may take this out. It's bounced a couple times off 281.20 or so. So if we can get back down to 280 or back up 281.20, which here we go. We may just take this off for 50 cents and regroup. The futures had a great little run up there. We're still up that 3%, but we are watching it for the downside. Here we go. Downside move of 280.50 once again on Apple. We don't want to let, obviously, the winners turn into losers. That's one of the theories, and you don't go broke with that. You don't go broke with that one.
It's hard
but here we go. We're going to wait to see 280.50. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure that Valeria knows that you like the show. But right now, we are getting ready to go back to her. Let's hit Valeria Batman. There she is. What's up, Valeria?
Hey guys, as Sean said, please like our videos. We really want to know that you enjoy what we are doing because we are trying for you. And also, right after this video, go and like all of our videos and check out our social media and subscribe for our channel so you get notifications when we are live and when we have a new content. Also guys, let's get to know each other better. Write us which global market do you usually trade at. For example, North American, BOVESPA, or maybe Toronto. Go to live chat and write. We are usually on North America, but I know guys can trade at every market. Back to you.
Thank you very much. And hey, great question there, Phil. I primarily am using limit orders. Even when I trigger a stop, it's going to be using an aggressive limit order to get in. We have the ability to trade on almost every single gateway you can imagine, including a lot of the dark pools, which can come into play. I mean, sometimes, maybe not today, we're trading liquid names here for the most part, like AMDs and your Apples. You're going to be fine accessing liquidity. We did, and I know we'll probably talk about that a little bit later. It should be interesting because it's a little bit of a liquidity scanner there. But AMD, just noticing as we hold in this 28.30 to 28.40 range, holding up nicely as you would expect. Right here, 45 even, that 45.40. So it's primed for a breakout, but it hasn't taken the top off. You look at something like an Apple, just worth noting. It's above that 280. It's at the top end of its range. There are some stocks which have made it all the way back there, and others which are still trading below their open price, despite the fact we made that bounce. So you are seeing a few names certainly leading the way. We've traded a lot of them this today, but it is time for our small cap recap with Brendan. I think we'll have some familiar names.
Obviously, lots to look at in small cap world today, guys. Let's have a look at a few here. CODX, we mentioned this 9:25. If you join us every morning at 9 o'clock, but at 9:25 we talked about this one looking like it might want to test lower this morning. I mentioned 9:25 and then 9:50 above us here. Couldn't barely get above that 9:25. Gave you a really nice opportunity off the open there to add to a position. And then, I mean, what do you say? That's about as easy as it gets to the downside for CODX. Wanted to mention this one as well. OPK, one of the face mask makers here, did give you a retest of this level 215 from yesterday. So a little bit of support in the afternoon yesterday for OPK. Nice slice through that before the open this morning, coming back up to these prior levels. I mean, this is 215 down here, 170. So a huge move for this one as well. We're coming back up to that early support around that $2 level for OPK. Don't want to get away from that one either. SPEX, another virus-related stock, testing this pivot from yesterday. 260, this thing's been halted a whole bunch of time, but 260 up here got tested right off the open. We're now trading $1 lower on SPEX. Wanted to mention this one as well. If you're looking for an energy name that does fit into the small cap world, Meg Energy here in Toronto. Nice move today. 340 all the way down to 250. We're consolidating around 275 at the moment, but as long as oil prices are weak, you want to have some shorts in mind in case we get a nice flush out, guys. That's a look at some small caps. Back over to you.
Thank you, Brendan. And just going to check back in on the airline sector here is, you get that little top action and we'll drop the money on AAL. It is up 6%, but you did see it fail at that pre-market level in front of 16, even 15.90. We basically almost got top wick there. We were able to get out at 86. You do see it get to about 89, failing at 90. It's come back in, but only halfway. So it's sort of teetering here, but looking, considering the way that things have been trading for the space, looking relatively strong, at least for the time being. So far so good. We still think there could be a breakout opportunity if we can take that top off, but watch out. The futures cannot seem to get themselves going past these levels that we're seeing. So I don't know that you want to get overzealous. As mentioned there, you do see some tech names that are leading the way here. And I feel like if you're going to be not gambling, but taking shots to the long side, it might be a little bit better there. If we sustain a move, I'll like that breakout at 16.
Yeah, we're taking shots and getting paid off right now. Apple was just $1 in the money back down to 50 cents in the money, bouncing around. You do see that top here, 281.84. That's where we just stopped at, 281.74, sorry. That's where we stopped at before, now fading back down. I think these futures are very, very tippy right now. We could break down below right here, 28.30. If that does happen, watch out below for all of your positions if you are long. So we are getting ready. I think I'll probably just drop this Apple if we're lucky enough to get an opportunity for it to come all the way back up here, 281.50. It just does seem like it's getting obviously a little exhausted here. The market needs to rebound a little bit from this 10.30 right now. So this can be where the market starts to fall, man. Smart money coming in, noticing that they're up 3% today, maybe cashing in, raising some capital right now for that next move down to buy these equities at a little lower price. I know that's what I've been doing. So here we go. Let's see.
Just catching a bit of a bounce here. Codex reopens after another halt. It's bouncing off of a 550 bottom, 557 bottom, above that 6 even. Watch out for $7 even. This is where the last flush did occur. If it does catch a bid there and it can't sustain it through and fails through 7, you're probably still looking at some short opportunities. Down 36. It doesn't really look like it's stopped as of yet. No. I did mention, of course, that you're starting to run into some prices which could be a bit of resistance down there when you do look at the 5 even area. And this is what's happening the last few days. When they come in, it's been fantastic. This was $16 just last week. Now we're trying to break back to 7 even and having trouble doing just that. I'm looking at AMD in that 45 area on a pullback. Again, it's not nearly as strong as I would like. It's been mostly the coronavirus names for me. A lot of profit to be had there, I do think.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's for sure. We're looking at, there's also Gilead here was another name that we looked at a little bit, and it's down 4% today. As you, of course, you're seeing some of these pharma names like Neil just mentioned here. Mind that wick, that's a bad one. Yeah, that did not happen.
Great price, we got that short.
Did not go from 70 up to, yeah, you're not short up here, Neil. This is the break spot right here, 70, 85-ish. We could break through, and that's what we're doing right now to the downside on Gilead. This may be a nice little name to short if the market does fade back through, which it looks like it's trying to do right now. Market coming back down. These are the ES prints. I know those are hard to see. I'm going to have to change that background to white for you guys. But right now, fading back in, the futures coming in a little bit here. You can see up 3%, now 2.8, breaking back down below that 28.25. This could still come down today. 2,800 staring it in the face for sure. We just dropped our Apple trade, guys.
Man, if we break 2,800, watch for that Carnival Cruise here at 21.80. That should be an interesting short. 74 is the actual low. Brendan, what do you got?
We talked about FedEx a little bit earlier, guys. This is another shipping company frontline. Big move to the upside today. 17%. Just wanted to point out these levels on the daily chart that it easily cleared at the open, 840 to 850, holding up nicely right at 9 for FRO, guys.
FRO, look, again, Brendan coming with all of the hot fire names there. I was just looking at that Carnival coming back in. I really should have been all over this 23 short. We did mention that pre-market level at 23.20. You probably had to give it a couple of cents here to get a better price. There was one wick, and I don't know how true and how much liquidity was there in this little wick to the upside. So maybe you could have actually gotten a fill. I kind of doubted it. Was probably on light volume, but now we're alert to that 21.80 bottom as we fall off. We can't get past that 28.40 on the NASDAQ. Look, if we can't sustain that bounce and you get a break at 2,800. It could get very, very spicy to the downside. We talk about some of these oil names. We don't really talk much about Chesapeake. Again, if you're trading those names, the only reason we're not really looking at it is because it's 16 cents. I know there's a lot of other stocks that are cheap, that are doing good volume, that are probably going to give you better opportunities for growth. That's why I was looking at Whiting. I think it's a good one below $1.
Whiting Petroleum. Yeah, that is a good one. Here comes the futures down again. We talked about that retracement back in. And look, this is a spot where normally I would love to go long Microsoft. Just not really feeling it right now. It was too choppy up here. This is that consolidation that we love. And if you draw these lines right here, this is what we do on the show, also trying to educate you guys on what we're looking at. These little lines up here between 158, basically 159, whatever, call the top, and then 158.40. So there's about a 50-60 cent range here that Microsoft tried to get through. Once it broke to the downside, this, guys, is where the short was. Not right now. I feel like we need to get almost past this level, 157, clear this kind of garbage down here. We can once again draw more lines right here, 157. This is another 50-cent gap range here. I don't want to play it in between. It obviously melted up right here, then melted back down in the same area. area. Now we wait. I'm going to wait for 157.25 to see if that one can't come through here on Microsoft. That'll be about where we look to go short. Until then, let's wait for another break above 158.50, which could come. I don't know. We'll see what these futures want to do.
Yeah, I hear you there, Sean. And I'm looking at Stitch Fix, and it does make a bit of a double top there. I talked about 16.50 as the price I liked. It doesn't really get much past 16 even, so you're not really quite getting the entry that I would have liked to jump in. And again, when you get down 30%, I don't want to necessarily jump in front of a sword when you get a bounce play and it's trying to fill that gap in, but it seems like it has failed for the time being. Watch out if we get any kind of VWAP consolidation in the futures flush. This could be another good place to jump into the south side on a short trade. I mean, there's been a few of them. You got to have some key levels. You got to have stocks that you like in either direction, because we're not going to hold a 30-40 handle range all day long. We're probably going to break out, and you want to know where you want to play.
Yeah, good look there. And Eric, yeah, Valeria will send you the link to daytradetheworld.com, which is the software that we use. And again, 17 years of experience with it. It's very super solid. We got our own charts here as well. So there's a lot of opportunities.
Live news feed from Refinitiv.
Live news feed from Refinitiv. It's exciting. Obviously, I don't need to keep talking about it. You'll find out more information at daytradetheworld.com. Great question, Eric. I have a question for you, Brendan. We're wearing salmon shirts. Do you like fishing?
I do, actually, and I obviously love salmon, too. FCell, guys, another name having a decent day here. Big move from 160 up to 178, they announced this morning. They're going to team up with Toyota to develop some battery technology using one of their facilities in Long Beach, California. So FCell possibly getting into a relationship with Toyota, guys.
Toyota.
I'm going to throw, I don't know, we'll drop the money there. Aqua, great job there. I mean, basically, you look at that open price, 45.41 on AMD. We were talking about that a little bit here. Basically, a perfect entry there. I see you there getting out of VWAP. It's kind of my style. Interestingly enough, though, I mean, the other thing you could do there is you take a little bit out. Futures sustain a move and test all the way to the bottom, and then you're looking for something, closer to that 44.50. But a winning trade is a winning trade, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. We teased that we would be talking to our good friend from OTC Link, Jeff Mendel's coming through. Lots of things to get to. I know in the last couple of days, lots of volatility in the market, crypto moving around. Jeff, I believe you are with us. How's it going there, buddy?
Hey guys, sorry I couldn't join by video today, but it's not due to the coronavirus. It's due to a broken elbow.
What?
Broken elbow?
Yes,
how did you manage that?
What did you do there, buddy?
Riding my brand new bicycle. I was trying to get it tuned in, and the curb won.
Jeff, you know what? It's always better to keep those training wheels on just a little bit longer.
I mean,
for that, but obviously, lesson learned. And look, you look more handsome than ever on this picture.
It is a great pick.
Yeah, so don't worry about that. It's all good on that front. Yesterday, we saw an increased volume, Jeff, obviously on GBTC. We'll call up the chart for you in a second here. I'm not sure if you can see us or not, but here we go, GBTC. I've made just a few trades on it today. Down here, 925 area bouncing. You're seeing a nice up 6.5%, 800,000 shares today. GBTC, great for volume, and obviously Bitcoin, one of the only true names, unless you're trading Bitcoin itself or the futures. GBTC, a great opportunity for anyone looking to trade on the pink sheets or on OTC markets.
Yeah, like you said, our normal names are trading very, very heavily. Tencent, which is TCEHY, GBTC, like you mentioned, and then of course Fannie Mae, which is FNMA.
Right.
Obviously, all those names, everyone's very accustomed to trading it in our marketplace. But today, I want to talk a little bit about some of the names that we don't necessarily always get to, and trading them in the pre-market. With all of this craziness going on in our marketplace right now, over in Europe, over in Asia, right? OTC markets is the place for a lot of these names to trade in the U.S. with their ADR, right? It's the Y share. And so right now, with all these crazy moves at nighttime, there's these unique opportunities from 8 a.m. in the morning to 8:30, which is our pre-market trading, which we don't normally kind of tell traders to pay attention to, right? Because a lot of it happens after the open. But now we're seeing these price levels move so much during the night that if you wake up early, which isn't that early if you think about it, right? 8 a.m. and you start looking at a name.
Yeah, that's late, my friend. That's late, my friend.
Sleeping in.
Oh, and Jeff doesn't have kids.
Yeah, exactly.
My bad. Okay, keep going, Jeff.
But if you look at some of these names, let's say you're trading Lukoil, right? Over in Russia, right? And then the U.S. The Eastern Time U.S. 8 a.m. rolls around, and you pull up the chart in Lukoil, and you pull up the inside in Lukoil, which is I think it's LUKOY is the ADR here, and you see some discrepancy, right? Let's say it's trading at only 1% up when locally it's trading 5% up. Right there's some opportunity right there, guys, right. and there may be that across 5 or 10 symbols even. So if you're looking at a local name like a Lukoil, a Bayer, a Tencent, a Roche, a Nestle, the list goes on.
Yeah.
Just pull it up and see if we're trading it over here and see if there's an opportunity.
Yeah, and as I see, I pull up Lukoil and I immediately see OTCX. So look, that's the only place you're going to be guaranteed liquidity. So if you are trading on the pink sheets and have access, this is what you want to be doing. Look out for that quote. You can see it on our platform here, OTCX. Bid ask. It's done decent. It hasn't done a tremendous amount of volume. One of the things that we always mention when we talk to you, Jeff, is when you're looking at these names, look at how many trades are executed as opposed to the volume.
Right.
That's going to be a better idea of the opportunities that are bound. But if you're doing some kind of an arb trade, you don't necessarily need overall volume. You just need liquidity at the current bid ask to take advantage if you know you're going to be in the money in a few minutes.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And so, like I said, if you're trading it in the local marketplace, it doesn't hurt to just pull up. Oh, let's see if OTC Markets also has the ADR. So
yeah,
that's my advice for the day, boys. Other than that, keep trading Tencent, GBTs, Fannie Mae's, Nintendo. It's going crazy. It's awesome.
Yeah. No, the volume's there. This has been such a wild ride in these markets, and always great to have you on. Thank you for bringing up those ADRs. Obviously, very, very important for a lot of our traders. And Jeff, we are now live on YouTube.
Yes, we are. So
we're streaming out there today. You can check that out as well. It's been fantastic. You're going to be our third ever guest on YouTube, and Jeff was one of our first, if not the first, guest that we ever did have back years ago when we sort of had this internally in our system. Jeff, always great pleasure to have you on. Looking forward. Any plans? Get well on your elbow.
Yeah, take care of that elbow.
Any plans coming back to Toronto in the near future?
We'll see. Hopefully in May. I'll let you guys know more about the elbow situation. Right now, I'm just hoping there's no surgery.
Oh my God, it's that bad. Okay, well, I was going to deal with you on the links course there, golfing, but I guess now
it wouldn't even be fair.
Now he has an excuse, I guess.
Yeah,
but, no, we're just playing around, Jeff. Get well, my
take
friend.
Care, buddy.
Call in anytime, any day, please. You know how to get a hold of us. Get well soon, and let's continue to trade on OTC Markets. Thank you so much, my friend.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, guys.
See ya, buddy. All right, there we go.
There it is.
Hopefully, Jeff can get better. And good job there from the production team. Thanks, Rob, and everybody
making it happen.
Over there, making that happen on. We have never had that with a pitcher.
But
that pitcher, Jeff, looked great there. So that was a great clip of when he was live with us before. So good work there. Always nice having, plethora of guests. We do have more coming on TMX Group, always coming on the Neo Exchange.
I like it when you drop
Josh
plethora.
last week, CEO. We had Kevin O'Leary
on
last week.
Mr. Wonderful himself.
We'll talk about MindMed coming up soon. That's listed on the Neo Exchange as well. So it just keeps going as you can often see my head turning everywhere. We continue.
We got cameras all over the place. We got
charting opportunities for you.
I want to jump back to the futures for a second here. We did bounce sort of off this at 8250 area on the NQ. We just talked about that, but not actually retracing towards the bottom on the NQ. We didn't actually get down towards that 8150. Similar story happening in the ES. So not really testing towards that 2800, but trying to bounce off of it. So it's still a relatively tight range. I mean, 30 handles. If you talk about a 30 handle range, and this was a couple of months ago, and I'd be like, hey, we're getting some action. We saw mornings with 5-10 handle ranges. So everything is relative compared to the last few days. We haven't had a major break in either direction. That's why I've been looking at some of these coronavirus names. We talked about the chop area, you'd get something like an AIM. It's already come off so far. Watch out here. We look at that 360. There's just not a heck of a lot of juice to the downside. There could be some bounce plays to be had as some buyers might start to come back into them. So do watch out. Just giving you a look here, expanded the last few sessions so you get an idea.
Yep, and we're doing the same thing here with Microsoft. It's just bouncing off this 157.70. I've already talked about why I don't like it at this level. We're going just to wait until it breaks, and I'd rather, like we said, go short on this VWAP breakdown here. Just a little bit of a confirmation. Obviously, the market's pulled right back down. I told you guys about 30 handles ago that this 2,800 was going to come into play. Is it? I don't know. We're going to bounce off of 2,807 a couple times, but here it comes straight to the downside again. So yeah, the future's giving some back now, only up 2%. And like Neil said, that used to be a great day, but now we're used to all of this bumping and grinding. But Brendan, what you got?
NOVN, guys, having a nice day here. A little penny stock, obviously, but a big move nevertheless, 39%, all kinds of volume. Back to, what is this, 75 cents now. Looks like we did get below that 80-cent level pretty early on, got all the way down to 60, but back towards 75 cents here might be an opportunity. Huge volume on this one, about 110 times relative volume, guys.
Yeah, I mean, relative volume abound on a lot of those names. And I love that camera look. It's just fantastic. I want to jump to, talked about Whiting. It's slowed down in terms of volume. It's only about 3 million. You can see it sputtering out here, but watch out. It could take the bottom off at some point. And as much as we're holding $34, it's looking relatively weak on oil. It just can't seem to catch a further bounce. And if we do get any kind of a flush, watch out for 85. You're probably going to be looking at shorting that one in Whiting. It's the name that I'm looking for the short side to express that trade. I was also looking at Zoom here, and thank goodness we had that trailing stop. Our target was it would get to VWAP, but once it broke that 110, you do look at this level here on the way up. If it ran into resistance at that on the way down, if it ran into resistance to that 110.50, you wanted to make sure you captured some profits. Good idea there is it did retest the bottom. However, it didn't break through, and I'm not sure it's going to if we hold 2,800 on the futures, which for the time being on the ES is happening.
Yeah, and my bad on this one, guys. We did give it to you. We hit the bullseye on Gilead, but we didn't take it. We talked about it breaking through. This is when we made fun of this candle up here. We did talk about it breaking where it was, 70.85. And yeah, that would have been a $1.50 winner there before, now rebounding back up. So Gilead, I just want to bring that to your attention. We did have that trade for you guys through 70.85. Didn't take it. And yeah, as we had Jeff on the show, it stopped at 69.25. Now bouncing back up just a little bit. So this is a name to look. Maybe we are down near this little trouble area here of 70.50. Maybe a nice little short happening above that. I am looking still at Roku, which is only up 1% today. This market can bounce. Maybe Roku gets going as well.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly could bounce. And if it does,
98, we'll see.
Roku looks good. And look at that little base that you're making there. But I'm with you, Greg. It feels a little bit shaky here. This little retest here, not a lot of sustained move to the, not a lot of sustenance to that move to the upside. That 2,800, if it goes, I mean, who knows? It could be an interesting little flush. We have such a nice bounce, and overnight, we could give some of that back. It's certainly a possibility. So have some shorts that you do like. One way to do that is to see what sectors are moving, so you can make some individual plays there. So why don't we jump over to Brendan with our sector watch?
And we are nicely positive once again, guys. Let's have a look at the S&P 500, see what is leading. We're going to start over here today. Financials, the banks leading back to the upside today. Tech stocks also strong, but have a look at the banks for strength here. AMP, GS, Goldman there, up about 6% on the day. I mentioned that one earlier, 5.5%. For BLK as well. ETFC, you just noticed there, 5% move today as well. COF and TROW, 5+% moves to the upside. So banks are really strong right across the board. JP Morgan, 3.8%, USB, 3.5%, Citi there as well, 3.5%. Back to the upside. So nice look there. Tech stocks, if I shift over to this side, might be easier to see. Tech stocks also big time strength coming in, 4.8% for Microsoft. FTNT 6.75%, ACAM 4.7% as well. There's your PayPal, Sean, 4.3% for PayPal back to the upside today. BOVESPA BR, MA, Oracle, ACN, all, I mean, take your pick, 3+% moves for some of the software names today. Hardware developers, NTAP leading the way, 5.8%. We have Apple in here as well, 5% to the upside today. Really nice moves throughout the entire group. There are a couple that are lagging though, so banks are actually the lead group to the upside. Industrial stocks, we've mentioned a few of these. Transportation names are in this group, so all the airlines right there, 5.5% plus to the upside for the airlines today. You'll find FedEx in here, you'll find UPS in here as well. Capital goods are really strong. TDG, WAB, ROP, all about 5.5% into positive territory. Some of the consumer names are also strong today. Lowe's there. DLTR, I noticed aftermarket yesterday, this one actually stayed positive on the day yesterday. So DLTR 4.8% again today. Orly down at the bottom there, also 4.8%. To the downside, if you want to have a look at some weakness, healthcare stocks are weak. Individual names in the energy group are also weak, but look at PXD and Apache here. 10% moves, guys, back to the upside. Real estate stocks kind of offsetting, and the staples, consumer staple stocks also a little bit weak on an individual basis, guys. But overall, nice move. We are still positive, but only about 2.2%. We were up significantly more earlier. Back over to you guys.
Here we go again. Microsoft once again just cashing in. There's that spot. I could not have given it to you any easier, guys. I hope everybody is paying attention to this. We've already taken off 40 cents. Here's that Microsoft trade. I told you I didn't want to touch it until it broke this VWAP. There it comes. We go short Microsoft, and right now 40 cents in the money. So there we go again. The cowbells are all here. I'm giving you these trades, guys. Hopefully you're having them. Here's another 40, 50 cent winner for Microsoft on the downside. Let's see how low we can go. We were buying it at 156. You see a huge drop in the futures right there.
Make sure you note the ES
2800.
Yeah, testing 2800. It stalled out the first time at 03s. This time we actually got to the even handle there before a little bit of a bounce back. So it is a full retest. You can see the range. It's basically the opening range has now been put in one time. If we get a breakout here, this is where you can see it. Once you made that opening range, now we're primed for a breakout. To the downside, make sure you had those names locked and loaded. You got a VWAP retracement there over in Microsoft. You look at the airlines, they're holding below, so you're primed to be able to short them in front of VWAP to the downside if you like those shorts. And Carnival, that's down around its bottom, very, very close to that 22 even.
There it is, another cash, guys. Cash register today. You're following me. I mean, you just see at the bottom what we're taking out on Microsoft, what we're taking out on Apple today. Those two big names for me, that's really all. You saw some GBTC being traded there, but here we go. Microsoft once again. The bank is open and it's flowing right now. So we only have once again now back down to 20% of our position after back-to-back 40-cent winners right there. We'll hold the rest and see how low exactly we can go. But guess what, guys? There's just another winner for you. We're going to see if we break 2,800. Obviously, look out below. This Microsoft trade cannot even be a loser now because we've cashed out of pretty much everything. Let's wait to see. 20% left. Can we get back down to 156? I think this guy will just be chilling right now.
Yeah, just watch out because when you get that move to the downside, sometimes you will see the coronavirus names move back up. That's what you're watching here in Codex. It's back to that $7 even area. It looks like it's made a bit of a bottom. So you alert. And we talked about some of these getting very close to some, I don't want to call them support levels, but previous areas of heavy trade. Let's call them that because ultimately these stocks were coming for a lot of them from penny stock range. So to call it support just because you see a level on the chart, not necessarily the same thing. I am looking at Carnival. It is making a bit of a base. So I want to see 2,800 actually break. If you want to test that low, it has not actually happened yet. And we're not actually at 2180. We're at 2220. So it's got to take out this bottom here before even getting to the low of the day. But I'm still looking at Carnival as I'm watching oil slide back down below 34.
Yeah,
so there's that weakness that we talked. Look, to a lot of people, it didn't make sense that we came as much as we did to the upside. There's the flush that you have in Whiting. You know what? I don't know how many times I'm going to talk about this stock. It's a penny stock, so it hasn't been the top of my radar, but it probably should have been. It's given you ample opportunity to be short in front of that dollar. It's given you lots of little pullback opportunities. It's now basically flat on the session. It was up almost 13% at one point, and now we are back to flat, which is no shock with this drop that we're seeing in oil.
Yeah, let's see if Softy can continue to go down as well. And no surprise there. That will be our trade of the day coming up soon at 11 o'clock. I'll be at that big board talking a little bit about this trade. Not this trade, but just how Microsoft's been so far today, and it's been fantastic. We are now sitting on a 157.20 short. It's only 30 pennies in the money, but as the futures try to break this 2,800, this could be a monster winner, and guess what? We have it on board. So here we go, 2,800, possibly breaking in the ES, and guess what? Here we go, Microsoft, 50 cents getting elevated right now. So explode the money. We go downside. Just another winner for your boy right now. 60 pennies in the money. What you got, Brandon?
CPAH, guys, another name that's kind of jumping in on the virtual meeting aspect of this whole coronavirus scare. CPAH having a nice day. They announced new software aftermarket yesterday. You can see the big pop. Thinly traded name, but still very positive on the day, guys.
And look at, as the market breaks 2,800 to the downside, Twitter just made a fresh high on the day, up 6.7%. It just took out 34.60 to the upside. It's not, if we get an actual flush here, I know it's been a strong name, but yeah, this is probably gonna, at the very top, Twitter right now, if we're gonna sustain a move to the downside, no mas. If this breaks down below that 34.50, I'm taking this one short and using the top end of the range here.
Talk about no mas.
Let's go for it.
Here we go. There's another dollar, guys. I've given you $4 or $5 winners today. Here's another one on Softy, straight to the downside. We're short 157.21 on this name. If you're not having fun yet, then I don't know what you're doing, because we sure are on this show. Down $1.20 now in the money on Microsoft. That's how we do it, guys. We're out pretty much at 156.40. Now we hold the rest. We're going to wait to see, can we get, well, we're right here right now, actually. What am I talking about? 155.72. If we break down below, then timber, the market is already falling. So right now, this is another $1.20. Explode the money. We have the winners for you. That's it. Here it comes. Microsoft to the downside. Hope you guys are having fun. Hit that like button. You want to see more winners tomorrow. Guess what? I'm back. So hopefully that should be okay.
Having a quick look over here at Occidental, somehow holding above 13 even, despite the fact that we just had that slide down. And also I looked at all of the other names. They had made some fresh lows, or at least testing the bottom. Oxy has not done that yet. We like this to the short side, so I think you can try the short here in front of this little VWAP. Hopefully it will catch up. It seems like a decent risk to reward for me. It's not going to be, it is going to be SSR. Remember, if the stock is SSR, it's going to apply to that day and the following trading session. So despite the fact that it's up 5% on the session, you cannot hit that bid. We're going to have to wait for an uptick. That being said, it's holding up so nicely that I think we'll be able to get in with no problem here. So we're going to jump into that trade. Fantastic look, Aqua continuing to short on AMD. We are breaking down and holding below that 2,800, so you want to make sure you have some shorts in. I'm looking at bounces to the upside in a lot of those coronavirus things. That AYTU now back to 130.
Guys, I mean, there it is again. You want more than $1? How about $1.40? Microsoft right now, $1.40 in the money, and continuing to go down, $1.50 in the money. I don't know, we're short 157.21. Where do we get out? I mean, the bottom right here, we've already gone long down here before, 155.54. Here it comes crashing down, $1.60 in the money. Timber, this is 5 trades I've given you guys, more than $1 now into the money. We sit back, relax, and here we go. Market to the downside. Welcome to our show. We do this all the time, and here comes another $1.52 winner. The trade is on board right now, guys. You can see that. I'll call it up for you all. It doesn't matter. You can see at the bottom all of the positions that we currently have on, and there we go. I only got one, and that's Microsoft to the downside, guys.
Oxy, no trouble getting into the short here at 13.11. In front of that 13 even, you look at XOM, which is the stronger name.
Yeah.
You see it break through the low when 34 gets taken out, and Oxy doesn't want to go to the downside. So I'll sit in the short in front of VWAP on Oxy all day long if you're going to let me see XOM drop down like this, and we're going to get a market flush. So we're positioned here in Oxy, watching also some of the other names related in the space, and I do have oil up watching us at 33.60 right now in the futures.
Yeah, oil's going to drop, well, has been dropping down. Oil's still up 7%. We're just going to hold this Microsoft, guys. I don't know.
Yeah, here comes 13 even.
Obviously is coming.
I think you can add at 13 even if you really want to, as opposed to taking it off. And Oxy is we're continuing to fall down here. 27.88, 33.50 we just got to in oil. So we like our positions here to the short side. We talked about that opening range. Finally catching a breakout. It's happening both in the oil futures and it's happening in the ES and the NASDAQ at the same time. Everything lockstep. Tune in at 9 a.m. We talked about this and how you have to look at a few different indicators there if you want to be tracking the overall market as a momentum trader.
I saw one of our viewers talk, I guess, pre-market about crushing Microsoft, and there you go, Kevin. There's another couple plays for you today. Big time destruction on Microsoft. Hope you're able to have some of those trades as well. We just continue to fall here. Who knows where these bottoms are going to be? 27.89 in the ES, still pushing down. This is a $1.70 winner in Mr. Softy, guys. Hope you have that one, Kevin. Hope you guys have it watching us as well. And hope the traders in the back are making some money today. It's been pretty simple trading a lot of these big cap names. They're flowing with the charts. It's pretty easy. Like Mark said, reading charts obviously has a big advantage when you're day trading. What else can you do? Charts and tape, guys. Get some, if you're not...
If you got that direct market access, you want to be learning to read a little bit of the tape there, but I want to jump to a chart. We didn't show this, but I did mention that we had the breakout in oil. This is what you're seeing here. It's taken out that 33.50 bottom. And again, lots of ways to express a trade. The entire time we talked about the shorts, we were like it was Oxy and Whiting. You could have also taken XOM here, but for me, if there was a sustained bounce, it was going to be trying longs in XOM and shorts in Occidental and Whiting there. But
punching Microsoft, guys.
There we go. Oh, sorry, Twitter.
You want $2 winner?
Twitter down to the downside. So here comes the break in Oxy at 13 even. Brendan has our money talks. Let's see what's going on in the cryptocurrency space.
There's a lot of money talking.
Well, let's have a look at the currency markets, guys. A lot of them making moves once again today, both higher and some to the downside. I highlighted the Canadian dollar over here versus the U.S. Obviously, big move down with crude oil yesterday. We're kind of consolidating here, but this is, interesting levels for the CAD down here around 73 cents now. Was holding 75 up here as support for the better part of a month. We broke that, tested it from below as resistance. So 75 all the way down to 73 cents now for the CAD, down again today, 0.3% along with crude prices. Crude down 4% since equities opened at 9:30 this morning. In the U.S., the euro also under pressure today, 0.7% here, 113.7. The pound, however, if we come down here, a full percent to the downside. Saw a note about an hour or so ago, UK confirmed cases above 375 now for COVID-19. So the pound coming under a bit of pressure. Talked a little bit with Mark there this morning about the Japanese yen, still 1.5% to the upside, guys, about that 104 level for the yen. Wanted to come down here real quick. Bitcoin back above 8,000. So we've retaken that significant level, 8,000 on Bitcoin, 2.25% today. Ethereum following suit as well, about 202 for Ethereum, 2.3% to the upside. So crypto's back to the upside as well, guys. Back over to you.
Thank you, Brendan. It's going to be arrows down. We sort of mentioned how I see XOM to those bottoms. This is the break that we talked about in crude with 33.50. Look, ultimately, Oxy is a weak name in the space. They cannot sustain at these prices. Ultimately, 34 is kind of that kill shot for them. Well, technically between 30 and 34, but 34 is that kill shot. You hear many people talk about this. So the fact that we saw XOM on those lows, able to short Oxy, and again, I'm not even sure why you should have been able to get this price when it broke. It doesn't make any sense to me. You were able to get 13.10. Probably should have been trading below 13 at the moment this happened, but it's already below this key 13 area. We're 20 cents deep in the money. The low is down here at 12.60. Look, if we sustain this move, maybe march towards 33, I don't see any reason we can't get that one. I'm gonna take off this Twitter trade because if we're going to bounce off of this 8,100 and back above, literally it's going to be my first losing trade of the day. So we'll know WTF. Why short the strongest thing in the market? Should have stuck with just the oil trade and maybe jumped into some Whiting as well. But Twitter, forget about it. We'll watch for that one on a market bounce. It's just been so strong. Forget it. We'll just dump that one for what will be about a 10-cent loss. I'm all in on watching these futures with regards to oil. We talked about this heavily in the morning. These things are definitely interconnected here. And it doesn't matter that we've dropped $3 here in Oxy. It can go a heck of a lot further. You can still sustain some of these moves. We finally get a breakout of this range. We're coming back upside here. Maybe you want to take out some profits, have trailing stops, whatever works for you. I'm just sort of watching a retrace in the futures contracts in oil. 34 is the key price, but 33.50 to that 70 should be an interesting spot as well if we hang on to this Oxy short.
We also did make sure you guys hit that like button. I see Larry asking about that as well. And here goes Microsoft. We're going to put a stop up here, 156.20 or so, right at this little level. If that comes down through, we will get out of that trade. We also do have Roku now to the short side. We'll see if that one can come through, 96.16 here on that low of the day break. So we're going to take that. We actually missed it here, and then it came back up and hit us. I didn't even recognize. So that would have been a nice little winner off the top. But right now, looking at, once again, another winner for Roku coming to the downside. Let's see if we can break through 96 once again. The bottom here, 95.82. I'll put a bid down there somewhere so we can capture about 40 cents and then see if the rest can fall. But right now, here just comes another winner for you right now with Roku. And we talked about shorting that, but look at the futures coming back upside right now, guys.
I do believe we are ready for Valerie. You see here as the chat maestro. Let's throw it over to the big screen.
Hey guys, please give us more likes, hit those thumbs up, that's totally for free, and subscribe for our channel. We really like you being active there. Thank you very much. Keep going, send the links to your friends. I'm pretty sure if you're a trader, your friends supposed to be traders too. So share the links with them and with your family, of course. If they are not trading yet, maybe they will start. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Valerie. We love to get those questions in there. Like I'll tell you right now, sometimes the best trade you make is the loss that you avoid. I mentioned how great those coronavirus names have been coming to the downside. And then when they got to the bottom, we said AIM had a lot of support and potential at that 3 even area. You saw, I mentioned that 360. I'm not bouncing to the long side there as I was coming in wanting to short them and find good places for it. But when it makes that move up to 5, I'm also not jumping back in just because I got prices that were profitable early. So you stay away. That's how you avoid that loss sometimes. You see those key levels. That's what it's all about. Brendan, what do you got for us, buddy?
Angle for this energy market, guys. Pembina here, pipeline operator, down 15% today. In addition to this monster move we saw yesterday, this thing's actually taken out yesterday's low already. So 23 was yesterday's low. We're all the way down to 21.75 now. Big move for PBA today too, guys.
All right, all right. Here comes Roku. We'll check out that. We're sitting on the bid now. Can we get
sliding again. We're sliding again.
40 penny winner. We'll see if Roku wants to hit the bid here, and that'll be a quick one. We'll get out of a third. I got to go do the trade of the day, unfortunately. We will see if this one can come back down. Roku stops at my bid and turns around. So we still got Microsoft to the short side, and we still got Roku to the short side as well.
That bounce wasn't much of anything there. I mean, we did get to 80.90 on the NQ, and we came back maybe to the 20 handle, but nowhere close to that 81.40, which was the range break that I was looking at here. And oil only bounced back to about 33.50, so not sustaining anything. Even if we consolidate in this range, I'm perfectly happy. I just have the Oxy short on at 13.11. That's trading down at 92, so we'll hang on to this one. If we don't get any kind of a real bounce, you know, your shorts are fine for the time being. It's a lot of weakness. And Greg, you were mentioning it just felt shaky. Yeah, it felt shaky, and that was your gut instinct, and I sort of felt the same way as well. You find a couple of shorts, and there's another flush to the downside. So continuing to work here. If you got the shorts on, it's arrows down. The first real move of the day was south side. We got the shorts for you.
Guys, right now, let's talk about what we have on. I'll give you a look that you've never had yet today. Welcome to the show. I see Edvin, welcome. Boston George, what up? Right now, if you want the winners, I've had 5 more than $1.50 winners on today, and we have another one right now. Let's throw up our position board. Here we go. This is Microsoft. We are short 157.21. That's $2.50 in the money. Roku right now, that's a 96.15 short. We just covered that for 30 pennies, but we have 2/3 of that on as well. So right now, that's what we're dealing with. And here we go. Roku to the downside right now. Microsoft to the downside. Everything heading southbound. We've got the winners. We put the trades on, and now you're being rewarded. We're going to go to European update in a second. Then I'll come back with the trade of the day. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to miss some trades here, but we're going to go to the big board now for the European trade of the day.
Hey guys, welcome to the European update. We have a pretty mixed board all across right now, with London up by about 1%, same with Germany about 1% positive, France up by about 0.9%, Italy down by 0.65%, and Spain down by about 0.5%. In the news right now, Bayer announced that they're going to be closing a lot of their U.S. offices due to the coronavirus, and Informa announced that they're going to be canceling or delaying about 400 million pounds worth of events due to the coronavirus fears. That's it for the Europe update. Throwing it back to Brendan.
All right, guys, let's go. It's 11 o'clock. It's time for Trade of the Day. If you're joining us for the first time, this is a segment we kind of go back over a trade that either Neil or Sean has taken at the open this morning or in the first hour or so of the day. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about Microsoft. I mentioned off the top, if you joined us at 9 o'clock this morning, stocks with individual news on days like these, both yesterday and again today, the individual news is kind of going to get, superseded by the overall market move. So yesterday, we're obviously moving significantly to the downside. Today we're back higher once again, no longer, sadly, for the market coming back in here, but when we came in this morning we were back to the upside. So individual names with individual news not going to be as significant. In this case, we went back to one of the solid names that we trade on the show all the time. Microsoft going to be talked about by Sean. He is all ready to go over at the TV. Let's go to him.
This might be the quickest trade of the day you've ever seen because we don't want to miss this market. You can see we are still short. I highlighted a key spot here. We'll talk about that in a second. But Microsoft right now, $3 in the money for us. That's a couple thumbs up. What we talked about today was just going back. Brendan just hit it right there. Going back to names that we've been crushing lately. Microsoft is one of them. We've been destroying this name, and it just continues today. As you look at this board, anything with a down arrow that is purple would be a short sell. We were shorting it off the open here, catching some nice moves downside before we realized that Microsoft was stronger than the market. So what we had to wind up doing there was switching over to a long, which we did, captured some profits before moving back to the upside. Let's run a few clips right now, starting with the first one and our first entry. Now, small bit of risk here put on through Microsoft. We go short right now, 156.66. So here it is. There it is, a 40-cent winner right off the bat. This is how we do it. We talked about this trade and gave this one to you. Microsoft in at 66, out right there for 30 pennies. We'll wait to see if it wants to come even further to the downside as the ES rocking and rolling a little bit. I want to put a bid down here. What is this? 156, 155.70. See if we can't catch a clean 60 cents on Microsoft to start the day, guys. Just noticing, watching the chart right now, I have a dollar stop on Microsoft, so if it blows upside there, we'll get out. Yeah, so taking the trade right away, guys. This was 9:31. I told you we'd let that first candle settle down. As soon as we got the break, obviously here, 156, 157 or so, we take the short through 156.50. We cash out. Then you're going to see we take another out right here. That's about 50, 60, 70 cents. What happens is we go back and we try to defend this opening area. So we average into the short. As it starts ticking up, we put the average in, and I always like to get out. I guess my out on this spot would have been 157.50. So 156.50, the first in, average out to a nice little price before the market stops dropping. Why don't we run our next clip on trade management? Beautiful trade, guys. I hope you guys had that with me. Look at Microsoft, our last short. I gave that to you, 157.30. It's at 156 even, guys. This is $1.40 in the money right now. The only stock I've been trading today. Here goes Microsoft, $1.50 in the money. We're short 157.30. You want winners? Here we go, guys. Microsoft, look at this. In there, out, averaged on this pullback up, and then crashing back down. Right now, Microsoft making these lows, guys. This is $1.70 in the money. Good. Looks like I did not get ticked out there. Yeah, $1.70 in the money. This is all the way down here. We take the short, comes right back into this level. You see me take a little bit off here, right? We do never, look, you never can predict something like this happening. So what winds up happening here is get some out. We try the short again, doesn't work. We get out immediately. This is when I start talking, and I'm not sure what the next clip is, but I start mentioning here, and you guys can rewind the tape, about 10 o'clock. Actually, you can watch it now on YouTube. You can watch it back. We talked about Microsoft getting strong. It was stronger than the market. So I flipped the switch.
We start going long in here, then taking it out at key levels once again, bouncing off 157 a couple times. We hold for the ultimate rate here out, but then it continues to go to 159. We start to notice the market gets weak, where we start to go short once it breaks VWAP. I talk all about this. Brendan, I've only really traded Microsoft and Apple today, but as you can see, we've hit pay dirt numerous times on this name.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept when you come in, to an overall market move and you start to get a little bit of relative strength popping up right off the bat, and very obviously, was it a case of waiting for the futures to get going back to the upside this morning that kind of gave you that trigger to start building into the long position, or were you seeing something in Microsoft itself?
Yeah, so it was just the Microsoft versus the futures. So we went short here. We played the same playbook that's been happening for the last little while, and that was try to fade some of these opening prints, right? And so we did see Microsoft come down here a little bit weak, so we initially go short thinking, okay, it's on, right? It was up 3%. We thought maybe we'd fade back to where we are right now. There we go. We get out of that Microsoft. That's going to be a $2 winner over there. But the point was, Brendan, we were talking about noticing right around here that we were starting to get strong against the futures. So when the futures did continue to go back upside, Microsoft enjoyed this. Then I was talking about waiting for this chop to end, right? Once it did end, we're able to hit that beautiful short at 157.21. Why don't we run the last clip, I believe now? 2 more clips. Second to last clip, let's run that. That's when we get into the short. Microsoft right now in trouble a little bit. We talked about how strong it was against the futures. Should have reversed short. We're light on this name. If it can come back down, we will be getting some out down here. We don't need our profits to disappear on us. But right now we'll see 156 and change. Microsoft very strong. I'm very nervous here. If this market does battle back, I think I found a name that I like to the long side, and it's going to be Microsoft. Okay, so right now, this is what I'm talking about. We should be probably going long here. I bet the market is battling back. 155 would have been a pretty sweet long there for Softy. What happens is, up here, you get this top, right, between 159 and 158.50. Bounces around a whole bunch of times. I talked about waiting for it to break, right? We didn't short it. That was very key. I wanted a confirmation. Once we got to the VWAP, then we got that confirmation. That's this little area here. Futures begin its fall, and we enjoy such a great trade here. Why don't we run the last clip? I'm not sure if it's the beginning of this short or where exactly we are, but here we go. That was really my biggest trade. Neil, this was about as easy as it gets, guys. Microsoft, we talked about it. We were pounding you guys down here at 156, talking about buying this name, talking about how it was stronger versus the rest of the market. I hope the traders behind us heard that. Right now, Microsoft, $1.70 short we already took. And guess what? This is $1.60 winner to the long side. We're long 156.13 right now. Let's wait to see if we get to 158.20. We only have 10% of the position on, so it's a little small winner, but Microsoft continues to get owned today by yours truly. And we own it again. That's this little move up, then this move down here. This is what we didn't get for the trade of the day. But I'm going to head back to the desk. Neil, I hope you crush this. We'll head to Brendan. This was an easy sort of setup here, trying to get long. I assume the futures also did go. So a couple longs hopefully coming into play. Brendan, that's your trade of the day. Let's get back to trading.
Nice little 50 handle move there in the futures back to the upside, holding 8,100 as support. So a nice look there for Microsoft. Just to reiterate that point from the beginning, basically, if you come in on a day when the overall market is very, very volatile, you want to go back to the names you're comfortable with. They are going to trade outside of their normal range still, but because you've traded them in the past and are comfortable with them, should give you some opportunities. Microsoft, one of those. Great opportunity today. Your trade of the day for Tuesday. Let's go back to the guys.
Thank you very much. A couple of things, of course, while you're gone, you see the market moving around a bit. We do have oil heading back towards that 34. So I put a stop and break even on that Oxy short. We did take profits on 2/3 of it, but I want to bring to your attention something we talked about in the morning here, the risk off trade when it comes to currencies. USD JPY. USD yen made a gigantic move in the last little bit here from 112 all the way down to what was basically 101. And you're getting a bounce back, and you're watching this. If you look almost right here at this break at 104 to the time print, perfect action to the downside on the ES and the NQ. This is a connection that you have to watch. You also have to watch oil markets. So either way you want to look at it. I'm looking at this bounce here, Sean, and I look at this NQ off of that 80-80. We just broke back, but we just turned around exactly. We talked about 81.40 on the NQ. We turn around that bounce to the upside exactly at that point. So if you're holding your shorts, that was your termination point. Hang on to them. If you wanted to break long to sustain the move, that could have been your spot.
Guys, punch you in the face as well, Roku. Boom. There we go, Roku. While we were gone, it did go down $1 into the money. We didn't have any bids out there, but yes, it did go down. 96.17, we take that short, and boom, take it out there for 40 cents. I just put a bid in there. That's a 70-cent winner right now. So look, making money on various names today. The fun continues. Let's see Roku down here. Can we get, we're basically a clean $1 right now in the money on Roku. Let's see if we can't make the magic continue to happen on this name, Neil.
Yeah, and we're going to continue to be short as I see 33.73. We'll continue to watch oil. It's going to be an important one. I know a few of you guys were, at least one person was looking at Nike today, and I hope you did actually hang on to that short position that you had. You have a great price there. You're only watching out for 89. That little pullback didn't get you anywhere close. It got to 87, continuing to flush. It looks like a great short on right now as the futures, again, failing at 2,800, failing at 80.40. It looked shaky, Greg. It stays shaky. I only have a short trade on right now.
Yeah, let's go.
And this is what it's all about. Look, you just play the direction here. We're heading back southbound in oil. We're heading back southbound in the market. This is what it's all about.
Yeah, punch the short, guys, and punch it in the face. Right now, we just continue to case closed on some of these stocks right now, guys. We're seeing this market head to the south side, and here we go again. Roku, just another big winner, 65 cents on right now. Unfortunately, though, we did get stopped out of this Microsoft trade at 155.50. I'm going to be looking back to get back into this name, though. But right now, found a weak one in Roku, and it just continues to fall down here. We're going to wait to see if it does break through 95. If not, we may just hold this all the way back to positive here. Market obviously weak, so is Roku. It's only down 0.95. Make sure, I see that note at the bottom, hit the subscribe. We're back here every day, including tomorrow.
Yeah, good question there, Phil. You asked how wide of a stop to use. Now, again, this is going to be very stock specific and position specific. Usually when we're describing a trade, we're going to give you where we like the entry point, where I like the exit here. And I'm just going to throw an example out here. And again, I talked about how I got away from the shorts in some of these names, but if you're looking at AIM, this was a pre-market, and I was basically looking to short this retracement. You had a nice level off the open here at 540. Again, you're seeing a base here on a lower high. I'd probably be shorting in this range at 540. You have the high of the day. That could be one area at 575, and that's intraday, of course. You're looking at pre-market, it was higher. You'd have your stop in and around that 575. In this case, you have a nice little area to view off retracement. It's going to give you about a 2-to-1 ratio that you're looking for profit to loss. So that's an idea of a trade. That's how you'll hear us describe things. So when it comes to a stop, it's not like it'll always be 10 cents or 20 cents or 50 cents. Every play is going to be different. You've got to make sure you have risk management as a primary part of your trade decision-making process.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? And we go right now, Roku. It's now a $1 winner. So right here, we're smoking the Roku stock today. You can see that one straight to the downside here. We're going to take a multiple, hopefully $2 on this one if we can get a breakthrough 95. We are short here, 96.14. It's $1 right now. We're going to wait to see if we do get some explosions to the downside. These are all live trades. I do see that little boom there in the chat, so we'll hit the bullseye again. So far, no losing trades for you guys today, none at all. We continue to rock and roll here, and here goes Roku. Let's see if the futures do follow suit, Neil. We've already broke through that 2,800 that we talked about, straight to the downside.
Yeah, we're retesting those lows. We talked about Dick's Sporting Goods. We haven't really been getting to this one, but again, on earnings is when you're basically going to want to play this. You're probably never trading it otherwise. It's going to give you a good one today. We'll probably review this as well, but watch out because it is on that low. 35 evens about to get retaken, and we did get back to 33.50, so we'll jump back in. And I wanted to have a look at XOM, and I think one of the things I'm looking at with this Oxy short certainly is, can we hold below 33.50? But the thing about XOM is, if we do get a kind of a base move back to the upside, not only will I be taking my profits on Oxy, I'll be looking for a long opportunity in XOM. It's basically back to flat. We closed right here. You can see we're at 0% on the day. We're trying to make a little bit of a level hold on oil. If it doesn't happen, fair enough. I'll walk away from this one. But if we do hold and get a bounce, this could be a buying opportunity in XOM, or, like I said, an opportunity to take profits on whether it's Whiting or Oxy, which is in the money for us, 15 to 20 pennies at a time. I'm holding on to the last third. If oil holds below 34, there's way more to come to the downside, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we have this 85-cent winner right now on Roku and not even taking it. We do think that we can get some more downside, although it's bounced off now 1, 2, 3, 4 times off 95. So if we get a break there, that should be pretty sweet. I need to use the bathroom, so what a great time to throw to Brendan.
OPGN, guys. OpGen here just popped right at 11 o'clock. There's a shareholder meeting that was underway in regards to a proposed merger with a company called Curatus. So OpGen getting the thumbs up for that merger with Curatus. So big time volume spike around 11 o'clock this morning and a rip higher, now up about 30% on the day, guys.
Yeah, there you go. Good look. Another name that's going to be all over the place. And look, it's going to be interesting action. Certainly, we're about 10, 15 minutes away from Europe closing. Sometimes you get a spike in volume and volatility, either one. I want to jump back to some of the chip makers. I traded a lot. We traded AMD earlier in the session. And I know a few Aqua there on the chat have done very, very well with it. I got away from it as the coronavirus names were just providing too much of an opportunity that I love. But now the weakness is starting to show. And we're basically following the market here. So as we get and tick towards these bottoms, and again, the ES making a fresh one on the intraday session here, and the NQ back down to 80, 70. You're watching us bottom out here in a couple of these names. AMD, I did like it to the short side one time. I'm probably now going to look primarily to the oil names for those shorts if it's going to be a continued move. Southbound here, I talked a lot about Zoom as well. That's just looking incredibly weak, and Zoom has been such a good stock. If you've been trading this one the last couple of days, you've certainly watched its move up. The take on this was, of course, coronavirus exposure. People are staying at home and working from home. It would be a rocket ship to the upside. There was one breakout trade that we tried here. And again, sometimes your best trades are taking $1 profit when you would have had 2. I liked it to VWAP. I saw it resist here at that little 110 area. It couldn't break above. You put a trailing stop in. But it has now made some fresh lows in Zoom, so watch out. Alert at 106. If that breaks, it could get rather ugly quickly, but the futures continue to drop here. And sorry, apologies. Europe closes at 12:30, daylight savings time. I always get that one mixed up, but here we go. NQ down 80.60 to the south side. We're back below 33.50 on crude. I talked about the connection, of course, also with a US dollar yen. That's back below 104. So all systems pointing to this nice little sustained move to the downside. Watch that 81.40. This is what we're talking about here. Once you see it fail, you want to jump back into some of those short positions and take advantage of them. Oxy is sort of holding at this 13 even area. So for me, it feels like the flush might already be done here. It's starting to level out. I might actually have to consider taking the profit that we have on board. But before I do that, let's jump over to Brennan. What do you have for us, buddy?
Energy name that really can't get out of its own way today. California Resources here, CRC down 30% now. Really no uptick whatsoever. We had a little tiny retracement here. Didn't even get back to 350. Now we're all the way down to 280 on CRC. Very weak.
Thank you very much, sir. Brennan, we talked a little bit about, I know some of you were asking about Tesla. Yeah, we did get that flush. It broke that, it tried to break through that 640 area on the way back up after taking it out, but it's been all southbound since, like the futures falling onto their lows. You talk about that 600 level. You saw what happened yesterday. That, of course, was the actual bottom. I think it got, maybe $1. It just $1 away from 600 even, or maybe almost right close to it. So, alert $25 lower than this. If we sustain this move to the downside and you wanted to be short Tesla, you don't necessarily have a major support area. There was some consolidation in the mid 60s, so you could see that. Again, just watching here, we're leveling off on crude, despite the fall off that we're seeing in the futures continuously here. So for me, that might mean take the profits out on these shorts and see if you can't find some plays in equities.
Yeah, and talk about equities. I sit back down. Time to floss it off a little bit here. We got $1 plus now on Roku. We talked about waiting for that move. Here it comes. So that's now $6 winners for you guys today, including this one with Roku. Let's see what it does through 95. I don't know. It's resisting 95 a couple times here, 4 times to be exact. Maybe we should just take this off and reevaluate on a breakdown back through 95. But the market just keeps on.
And I see you there, Greg. I mean, I want want you to clarify something. Are you talking about closing higher or lower relative to our open or previous close? I know if you're a day trader, sometimes we care about the former more than the latter. At this point, it does feel like it's going to be down to me, but also
current price. Are we higher or lower now than the current price?
No, I want to hear what he says.
That's what he said.
It's all about
Current
Greg?
price, he said.
Oh, he said. Oh, mine is really slow there. So from the current price, I'm gonna have to guess lower at this point. That's what it feels like, especially looking at what's going on in oil. But we do have our segment that we try to do every single day in focus. Valeria knocks it out of the park. Let's see what she's got for us today.
Thanks guys, and hey everyone. The longest bull market in American history turned 11 years old on Monday, but investors are not really celebrating right now as the coronavirus fears turned the market into a nightmare. According to CNN Business, S&P 500 during the past 12 trading days lost more than 12%. If S&P fall more than 20% from its recent highs, the bull market that began on March of 2009 will be officially ended. Well, coronavirus fears and price oil war has a huge impact on global markets right now, with the Dow losing more than 2,000 points on Monday, U.S. Treasury yields hitting its record lows, and the crude oil price losing as much as 30% on Monday. Bank stocks they're lower on Monday too, with JP Morgan, Bank of America, and CATI Group all falling more than 10%. Though previously Brandon in his Sector Watch segment said that stocks are heading upside back, and markets and the bank stocks too. That's all for today, and stay in focus. Back to you guys.
Yeah, stay in focus for sure.
Always got to stay
short.
focused.
How about that, guys? Right now, catapulting once again my net through the roof. I talked about giving you guys dollar winners. This Roku one is $1.50. So right here, we are short 96.20 right now on Roku. It's at 94.50. So this is $1.70 now in the money on Roku. The fun continues. Join us every single day. Hit that like button if you like these trades. But you can see right now, wow, Roku straight down, 94.50 right now coming through. This market's probably going to go red now. Can't believe
we're about 1% right now.
What a great move down. $1.70
the
in the money for Roku. I'm going to tweet this one out, guys, right now.
Yeah, I mean, you're seeing a free fall. I hear it in the back. Guys are getting excited. We are getting a bit of a free fall action here. 44 even here. AMD basically at the bottom. It's looking to break right now. We're making a move to 8,000 even on the ES right now. You have 27.60. You are getting free fall action here. We just saw another drop there in crude down to 33.30. So everything moving lockstep, and this is the theme that we've been talking about all morning long. So you want to make sure you're tracking what is going on in the energy market. Here comes 44 on the bid on AMD, and we're trading this one. I was looking at the 46.50 levels for a break if we could sustain a move to the upside. Now we're talking 44 even breaks.
Yeah, Roku right now, this is a $2 winner. So Roku just continues to head southbound here. I'm not even going to get out of this one. We're going to wait to see if this market turns red. This Roku could be like a $10 winner right now. So we're going to hold on to Roku. All we've been doing is crushing these names today. Big cap tech stocks continue to be on the lookout for me. I did miss that one Codex trade. That would have been monstrous. That would have put our net through the roof. But right now, we still continue to go.
Speaking of those
perfect
names,
trades so
you
far
got to
today,
stay away from some of those. If you see that move back to the downside again, that flush that you're talking about off the open, you're just not going to see it usually sustained in the coronavirus names. Yeah, it was giving you fantastic returns, 10% move, which is gigantic on Codex. But look at it level off. As the futures come back down, this big flush, all you're seeing is consolidation. So that's not the story that you want to see here. If you get a bit of a bounce, I think there's going to be a trade there. But again, the market has to bounce for you to like it. I'm watching crude oil as I sit here in the Oxy trade to the short side. And there's another leg down. We just made a fresh low on the session. 33.25 got taken out. So I'm actually going to be adding to my position in front of 13, maybe sliding my stop on Oxy. We do believe we'll test those lows. We have 11, so we've already taken profits on it. I'm going to see if we can't get more on this little flush down. The market's going down, crude's going down. Everything is headed southbound. We're almost almost to negative on the ES, only 0.2 away here. Look, we're getting very, very close. 2750 coming into play.
Yeah, good. We're getting a lot of action here on Twitter, so make sure you follow Neil and myself on Twitter. Okay, there's a chicken dinner. If you're watching this, my wife, $2.50 in the money now as Roku continues to go. Yushi probably cashing in on this trade. Roku, probably on the futures. Roku straight to the downside. We talked about the futures cracking that 2,800 level. It doesn't get much easier than that.
We're about to 33.
Shout out to Arun. Anybody trading today, this doesn't get much easier. Hopefully you guys are short. $2.50 now in the money. Wowzers. The trades are flying through today, guys. What's up, Brendan?
We were talking about 8,100 there, guys, when we were doing trade of the day. So, yeah, 100 points on the NASDAQ. Just gone. SM Energy. Want to talk about energy stocks here. Definitely leading this move to the downside. A lot of these that we were talking about throughout the morning are either at day lows or near day lows versus the banks. If you have a look at the banks, not quite at day lows for some of the banks. So energy stocks are leading to the downside, guys.
What do we win there, Greg? Dow is negative. The ES just turned negative as well. The only thing that is still in positive territory, and it's maybe not for long there, the NQ holding up. And again, the tech stocks were strong in the morning. But there goes 8,000. Crude bounced off of 33 very, very briefly. So you did see a dollar move to the downside. And again, volatility is here to stay. And we've covered oil numbers sometimes, and you'll see 40, 50 cent moves. You get a dollar move sustained to the downside here. 8,000. Absolute insanity. I'm watching dollar yen. That just dipped below to 103.50. So everything moving in lockstep, as we kind of mentioned here. Even Twitter fell off, and it was literally one of the strongest names on the board as I was watching all day long. It's still up 3.5%, but look at the crater. It could not hold up on any bounce. Twitter is the name that I kind of like to the upside after watching it hold the top so well. So if we retake 8,000, I'll see if I can't jump into some longs here, thinking Twitter is sort of the stronger of these names.
We're going to get out if this breaks through 94.50. Look, we got a $2.50 winner right now on Roku. We'd like to keep our profits, though, so we'll wait here. If it does break back above here, I like playing the 50-cent levels on some of these names, so we'll wait for 94.50 to break. But right now, we just continue to absolutely destroy these stocks. I hope you guys are as well. It's been a banger day. You can check to see what we're trading below, see the profits we're pulling out of some of these stocks. It's been a fantastic day. I hope you guys are liking it. Hit the like. Keep chatting us up. Valeria waiting for you guys as well. As I don't know what Donald Trump's going to do this time, but there's a contract talking about tax pay cuts. I don't know if that's going to
actually
work.
Get something done. I mean, I think that when you talk about those interest-free loans, maybe that's going to help a little bit for small business.
Where's Tesla?
I'm looking down here at this. Looking at this. You see Tesla there down towards that 600 even area.
When the show's over, I'm buying some of this.
I'm looking at this Twitter here at 33.60. We're consolidating. We get this bounce. I kind of like taking this long off of the low of the day. Twitter's been relatively strong, but I'm still seeing, we're trying to get off of this 27.50. I'm going to take my shot here. I'm talking there, of course, about the ES. We'll jump back and forth sometimes, but a 27.50 bounce on the ES. You just saw the Qs bounce off of 8,000, the NQ that is. So I'm going to dip into some Twitter off the low and add to it maybe at a 33.70 break.
625.51 or so maybe on what is this stock? Tesla. Maybe we'll try our long on this one if it gets back above 625-ish. That would be covering a lot of this garbage and then breaking back to the upside. So we'll wait on Tesla right now, see if we can get back to 625 and change. Tesla's still up 1.9%, but as you guys know, a lot of these make moves to the upside. Tesla was up 10% earlier, up to 670, 680 in the pre-market, and then just basically nothing but down. We get a little reprieve right here, but now we continue to fall down. I'm not going to take Tesla long until 625 breaks. Right now, the only position we do have on is this Roku short.
Yeah, and still working with shorts at Oxy in front of 13. There you go. Dow takes out 945. 8,000 coming back in. And I think, here you have to watch out for these little bounce plays because we're not sustaining any moves to the upside here. So as much as Twitter's been strong, you can forget about it. If we can't bounce any more than 5-10 handles on the ES, when you get a flush like that on the NQ here, we got maybe to 30s before just slamming back to the downside. So let's see if we consolidate in this range. I do like where we're set up here. We're not going to let it break the low of the day. Lots of room for us to run. Make sure you're following us. If you have any questions, comments, whatever it might be, throw them into the chat. The excitement continues in these markets. The volatility is absolutely fantastic. Valeria, our chat maestra, what do you have for us?
Hey guys, thank you very much for being active. I hope we are helpful and entertaining for you. So give us more likes and subscribe for our channel. It's 30 minutes till the end of the show, but we are here every day from 9 to 12 p.m. Eastern time. So subscribe, give us likes, and if you're gonna miss us, go check out our social media and put likes everywhere there. You can find us at tradertv.live. Back to you guys.
We start.
Okay, good.
Yeah, good job. I just want to talk about Aqua Bramos there. Great trade there.
Nice.
Obviously on Tesla. That's exactly the kind of trade that I would make day over day. Unfortunately, you can see we are a little tied up here, hosting and looking at a very bunch of different names. Great trade there on Tesla. Let me call that back up for you. I like it to the long side, but the same reason is why I would have loved it to the short. Bouncing off 25 here a couple times. Then here's the break. I'm assuming you have that Aqua at about 11.18 or so, maybe 11.20. That is an absolutely fantastic look by you. So I'm going to give you the swish on this one. And I don't know if you are a basketball fan, but the Raptors are also on fire.
Before we kick to Brendan here, the 10-year went from 74 to 57. I mean, are you kidding me? The swings that you're seeing on some of these yields is insane. That's what, look, this is what's driving this volatility in the market. And again, we're back below that 8,000, 79.77, and we continue to go down. Brendan, what do you got for us, bud?
Market just continuing to free fall here, guys. ENBL, we mentioned this one earlier, 36% still to the upside. This was up about 70% in the pre-market, so cut that gain in half. We're about to break to the downside. JMF, among the leaders in the energy group to the downside. You can see already well into day low territory. Little energy name there too, guys.
Guys, $3 now. I mean, I was telling Neil, why can't this be this easy every single day? Because
way to go,
here
stop.
comes the fireworks, guys. $25 right now. Sorry, $2.50 right now on Roku. Down 3%. I was looking for this thing to break $102.
We
obviously down.
We had a question about what types of orders we use, and we use stop orders with aggressive limit orders. And an example of how you have to pick and choose when you use an aggressive limit on this little break in AMD, we talked about that 44. We trigger in, but we don't cross deep enough. And when you have that limit order, sometimes you want to cross a little bit deeper when you have volatility. So that's going to cause you to miss out on some of these trades. You know, if you use a market order, you're going to get whatever's on the bid. So I try not to do that. Sometimes, maybe on even an AMD where liquidity is good, maybe you do jump into that. So I'm going to cancel this order because obviously it's not going to come back to 44 anytime soon. So we'll walk away having missed that little break. It was a good one. We got that. You would have had that one before the 8,000 break on the NQ.
Wow, and Roku just continuing to make days low. I'm just following.
Zoom's got to be getting crushed.
Yeah, I'm just going to follow a 1 minute moving average on my other chart here. This is VWAP. I'm going to look at a 1 minute, 5 period moving average. 94.13 would be my out. So I'm actually going to use 94.50 right now as my out. I love that little top right here. I don't know if you guys can see that on Roku, but we are still short right now. Tweeting it out, guys. 94.50 will get out of this one, but a monster winner on board right now with Roku, followed by Apple, followed by Microsoft. It's been a banger day, guys.
Oh man, somebody tried so hard to keep Oxy up here at 13. You saw crude falling off there, and you see the leveling off, and I'm like, I'm not buying it. I'm sticking with this short. We do. You see his hold below 33.50, and that sucker just got blown away. That we just got a nice little 20-cent move to the downside. So we'll take some profit off on this. Again, this is what you wait for. If you pick what you think is going to be weak, when we come down, I don't care who that buyer is. You can't sit there and tell me one of the weakest names in the space with the price war going on, with oil holding below 34. It's not going to hold up, and I don't care how much it's down. It can certainly go further. Buyer just got broken. They're trying to keep this one up artificially, and now we're headed southbound. Looking to see if we can get those lows. That's where my target was, down at 61, 12.61. We're about 14 pennies away from that. So sometimes you have to have a little conviction. As I said, though, if oil came back to 34, that's fine. Then you get out of the trade. This is what your indicator is going to be. The future slid down. For whatever reason, it was lagging. I just looked at WLL. You did catch a 10% move almost right away if you're trading that penny stock. I was over here in Oxy. Either one's going to work for you, Brandon. What do we got?
Guys, a name holding up relatively strong here, Stitch Fix. We mentioned the news on this one. Still hasn't broken these lows. This low or this low or this low. Pick one. We're still kind of hovering around $15 for SFIX if we get a bounce in the overall market, guys.
Yeah,
Look,
kicking ourselves over that.
It's one of those where we talk about earnings almost every single day, and it's not that we're ignoring the stocks that report. It's just that there's so many active names, and I don't usually trade oil-related names, but I don't see how you can get away from that in markets like these. Sometimes you just have to jump in. That's where the volatility is going to be. It's been in tech. It's been in the oil, it's been in the energy sector. So Stitch Fix, yes, missed opportunity, but for me, coronavirus names. There is another flush. I talked about 1261. Look, this buyer, they tried.
It's been great.
More power to them. Yeoman's effort. We'll give them a little bit of a cheer for trying to hold this one up. It's not going to work. And here comes Oxy to the downside. It'll turn negative at 1251. I'll probably be out in front of that. I think there's ample opportunity to get back in. It's on 45 million shares on the day.
Yes, and a shout out right now. We'll hit the fireworks for you, Aqua. Great little trade. They're only having 10% left. Just what I like to hear. That's exactly the kind of trading that I like. Takes them off when the profits are there. Hold the rest for 600. You know what? I mean, that's going to have to be quite a big move. It's bounced off 600 a couple times before. I'm going to check out the daily chart for you here as well. 600. See, this is what we're talking about. Came back down and bounced off 600 almost exactly yesterday on that move down, and then 611 the day before. So you were right at that area again on Tesla. So watch out now. What a great trade for you there, Aquaman. Congratulations, my friend.
Absolutely. And watching a sustained move here, but some consolidation at 71. We did flush down to 65. So, it is what it is. I sort of have my target at 61 because our bottom was 51. It's a little bit arbitrary. If we do come back northbound, previous bottom was 1279, 1280. You can always go trailing stop with that if you want. I'm going to hang on to it more manually and look at the oil futures. If we come back to 3350 or so, that will be my out, that or break even. Or we can just hit my target. That'd be great too.
Yeah, we took $2 on Roku. It did jump up back up. We actually got out 94.15. I don't know why I put that at that price. I wanted to go 50. Changed my mind there and should not have, because now Roku goes down again. There's another $3 if you're rolling the dice on Roku. It would be a $3 winner for you. We were short 96.15 there, and we did get out at 94.15. So that was a $2 winner. But right now, as you guys can see, it would be $3 now in the money. So congratulations to anybody that was able to hold that one. This is such a great market. I just hope this continues on for infinity.
I think maybe not infinity, but I think we got a little bit more going on here. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I did not see that coming. We're short in Occidental, and we just got a halt. So we'll see what that was all about. Let's go over to Brendan.
Yet another energy name, guys. New star here. NS in New York, still up, surprisingly, on the day, 5.5%, but just fell $2 in a straight line, a little bit thinly traded, but 1280 all the way down to 1080. We're seeing these kinds of moves right across the board when it comes to energy stocks, guys.
Yeah, I mean, like I just mentioned, we just had the halt there in Oxy. I don't even have it yet on my trade halt board at NASDAQ Trader. So when we get an update, we'll see what did happen there. Either way, we're in the money, so we're not terribly concerned with it. You saw the flush has been going to the downside. Brendan just mentioning another name, as it is absolute free fall action. 79.37 on the NQ. So yeah, Greg, you had perfect timing asking that question, and the answer seems obvious now, but we are headed southbound.
Yeah, southbound to say the least. And there we go, guys. Again, we will miss the boat. We did get out of this $5 win.
Nothing wrong with trailing stops, man, but that's...
No, that wasn't trailing stop.
Oh, wasn't trailing?
I just put it in there. It just was getting through this garbage here on Roku, and then we got out. But now the fall continues, now down 0.5% off of that minus 2,000 point day yesterday in the Dow. The Dow obviously turns negative now today after being up as much as 1,000 points early on this morning, about 6 a.m. Eastern time, 7 a.m. was up near that 1,000-point mark, and now fading straight back in as Europe will close today at 12:30. That may provide us a little bit of a bounce, but until then, there may not be anything, guys.
Yeah, and Oxy halted pending news. So this should be an interesting one here. I am actually short. We reloaded at 13, so we are going to be in a short position. You're seeing it. I had to jump to Twitter because, for some reason, not even updating on my trade halts. I mean, they should have had this one already, but it'll probably pop in shortly. Getting a tiny little bounce here, and again, we haven't sustained any moves to the upside. We are trying to bounce here in the NQ off of 79.30. I say we, the market. I don't have a long position, Sean. I know you don't either, so I guess it's technically not we. The market trying to catch a bit of a bottom here, bouncing off of 27.30 in the ES and 79.20 on the NASDAQ.
Yep, exactly. And right now, Okay, just watching crude oil bouncing a little bit here, so that may give us some reprieve to some of these names. Let's go back over to XOM right now. Check out what they're doing. Wow, 41 and change. How low did they get yesterday? That's after the close. 41.80 yesterday. A nice little level for them as well.
See, I don't like that we're bouncing.
We're going to wait to see, guys.
I mean, to get XOM bouncing, and we got the halt here in Oxy, so I can look at some of the other names here. You know, I thought we had a great short on. You broke that buyer. We take some fantastic profits. But if it's going to be some kind of positive news coming here, I'm probably going to have to take this one off at the open. But XOM, if we caught a bounce in oil futures, this was a place that I felt like was your best bet to buy. The other names we mentioned today, I think you're still to the short side there. I mean, I actually watched Chesapeake, and again, we weren't trading because like a 16-cent stock. But the volume's good enough. It gave you a move as well. So across the board, you see the weaker names in the energy space getting continuously crushed. That's just been the story.
Yeah, that has sure has been the story. Yeah, 41.47 the bottom here on XOM, and it's already below where it was yesterday. So XOM started off like gangbusters today, up to 46.50 almost. Now we fade back down that full $5 coming into play. Maybe we go long if it breaks above 42. So we'll check that out. But for right now, we're going to sit back, relax.
I don't know if we missed Phil there, but look, we're sure. I mean, we had direct market access here. We're going directly to the market. This is what it's all about. We're making live trades. You'll see us pop our level 2 up from time to time. And again, you know, sometimes we're having to hunt for liquidity depending on the name. Other times there's just ample liquidity there. For most of the names we've traded today, it hasn't been a concern. You're not seeing me concerned with, let me see which key I'm using, which gateway I want to have access to, or care which route I'm using. It doesn't really matter when you're trading some of these liquid names like an Occidental, like an XOM, like an Apple, like a Microsoft. It's not going to be a concern. However, you sometimes, if you're dipping into some of these more thinly traded names, and it happened with the coronavirus names, it might happen from time to time. Maybe if you're trading some of these low cap, small caps, you do have to be very careful about where you're accessing liquidity, even in the dark pools. That might be your best place to go. But it is 11:40. Yep. As I wait for Occidental to open, we're going to go over to Brendan and start our wrap.
Let's go.
Hey guys, welcome. About 20 minutes to go here. You can see both now the S&P and Dow back in negative territory after 945 point gain for the Dow. All gone. Bye-bye. Back to the red now for both the S&P and the Dow. NASDAQ still holding on to a slight gain. We mentioned earlier tech stocks were leading to the upside, still holding on to a slight positive showing. TSX here in Toronto still up about 0.4%. Brazil still higher. Bitcoin back to the downside. We were talking about that 8,000 level earlier. Look at crude still 5.9%. That was 10% earlier this morning, cut in half. As far as the gain goes, gold back to the downside as well, about 1% to the downside. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. This is the wrap. We go back over some of the names that we were talking about at the beginning of the show as far as moving around in the pre-market with fresh catalysts, or in play, as we like to say. Some of those included the airlines this morning. Delta Airlines became the latest of the major U.S. carriers to come out and say that they will significantly cut back on both routes and planes in the air for the foreseeable future in an effort to control the coronavirus spread and also to deal with a lack of ticket sales. So, I mean, you can look at Dow, you can look at, I brought up United here, UAL. Gave you all kinds of opportunities. This is $50 here on UAL. So it was a little bit of resistance in the pre-market. We tested above, came back to 50, and then obviously the market leading the way to the downside here.
Yeah, you mentioned, you're looking at UAL there, you mentioned Delta, but I want to jump you to the one that I traded here, and we took one long breakout trade in American, and the reason why was just the relative strength it had. So if there was going to be a long, and I wanted this breakout off of what was an iceberg area in the pre-market, I was going to take it on American Airlines because it showed relative strength. You can see it up on the day. American is actually still up on the session despite this drop off. So you've got to note these types of things. Again, if I'm expressing this to the short side, great. Delta, United, American's been the one that I think you wanted to try the longs out. So, we're trying to bounce you off in the futures off 27.30. If you're making the retracement play, this would have been a one to do it. I think if you're going to pick one, it's got to be American. I'm still waiting on Oxy to open up. It's been 7 minutes, but this is pending news. So it's not like it's going to open up in 5 minutes. This could open up an hour from now, 30 minutes from now. I kind of have to have my eyes glued to it. So we'll see what happens. I'm seeing a bit of a bounce in some of the energy space. We're back to 33.70 in oil. So, I would have been getting this one out as we head back up, but we're stuck in it, so it is what it is.
Yeah, and your boy's long right now, XOM. So let's see what happens on XOM as well. Waiting to see. Oil is bouncing back up, still up 7%, but we'll take XOM. Small long right now, it's 11.45, guys. We'll wait to see if it can retest that bottom once again. XOM, guys.
All right, guys, the energy space, you definitely had to be watching it today for all kinds of opportunity. When we sat down this morning, obviously the price for crude significantly higher, gapping up 10% at one point. We're all the way back to about 5%. So energy stocks right across the board, giving you all kinds of opportunity on the fade back to the downside. One of those types of trades, though, that if you are going to be trading an individual energy name, kind of have to be watching the futures as well, because the futures telling the story, crude futures, I mean, in that case, as far as the move back to the downside goes. I want to talk about Vail Resorts here, guys. We said right off the start this morning, stocks with individual news kind of going to get, pushed to the back burner as far as the overall market moves that are taking place. Vail Resorts did report earnings. They came out lower than expected. They missed estimates both on the per share and on the revenue side, and we also had a little bit of a guidance problem, but Mountain still to the downside here, but it has been relatively strong. An interesting name worth highlighting because of the earnings. Relative volume here definitely higher than usual.
I know it's relatively strong, but I got to be honest, when it comes to the space, I probably would have been only looking for a pullback. And certainly at the top, you get the defined range it makes at the top. And then when the market flushes, it gives you a fantastic opportunity. Again, the market's going down here, but you look at this level right around that 181 even. That's the kind of trade that I would have been looking for here. However, you're talking less than 1 million shares done, and now we're halfway through the session. Probably not for me. There's a continuous bounce in the futures we're getting here. Back up 30, 40 handles here in the ES.
Yeah, siren alert. Here we go, guys. Just another 30-penny winner right there. Hit the cash register. XOM heading to the top side here. We take 41.95s. Out. Still holding 30-40%. We talked about taking that one long. And yeah, so far so good. Basically, like I just mentioned there, out of 60% of the trade, holding 40%. I'm not going to hold this one for very long. Obviously, we have to watch oil prices. They are rebounding a little bit, up 7.2%. We notice Trump and Pence speaking now, so we'll wait to see if they have any opinions. Obviously, Trump always has opinions on OPEC, so we'll wait to see how that fades through. But right now, XOM just once again reining in that cash, guys.
Pence heading up the U.S. coronavirus fight. So yeah, Trump and Pence on TV right now talking about that. Just wanted to mention that Mountain, guys. Obviously, you can tie it back in to the the hotel space, the travel and leisure space as well. I just brought up Wynn here. We might as well have a look at some of these casinos. Again, gave you all kinds of opportunity on the retracement type idea. Neil, you were just talking about looking for a place to fade that Mountain on the way back up because of the positive movement in it. Wynn, another one, tested this 89.75 2 times this morning, and then OHUM came off better part of $6.
Yeah, ho-hum, right? I mean, look, volatility, we talked about volatility, and sort of the important thing to do when you're looking at some of these names is whatever sort of average ranges you're looking at, throw them out the window. You've got to look at what's happening recently, what kinds of moves you're making here. Again, it's only moved 4%, but certainly, I think we can get a heck of a lot more than we finally load up the chart there. The bounce that just happened in the futures, the relative bounce that just happened here, a $2-3 move to the upside when we just came 40-50 handles, that's a relatively large move. So certainly I think you're seeing a lot more volatility in the space. And of course, the casino, the travel industry, we talked about this getting heavily affected. You can expect that. So you can't sort of think, it's a muted bounce in the futures. Why are we going so far? Let's just immediately fade it. You can't think that way on something like a Win here. However, I would be eyeballing this $86 even level. You can see all morning long with a flush through that price. We basically run up to it. If the futures fail to take out this 2780, I'm looking at that was where consolidation was on the ES. You might be thinking about that fade to the short side here if you want to be fading these names.
I was just going to talk about the ES because your call with Greg now.
I know. Damn it, Greg.
So we'll see here. We'll see from now 0.69% to the upside.
Thankfully,
here.
we bet nothing. So
Thank God you bet nothing. So there we go. But
I mean, look, there's half a day left here. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean the market just went up 1% in about 10 minutes. So we'll see if that can fade through. Our XOM trade, we're going to continue to ride that one to the top side. Of course, we are long 41.95. The first time I touched this name today, would have obviously liked to get it back here. We wait for an oil rebound. Now we're coming back to the upside here on XOM. A nice little 15 penny winner right now. I'm going to wait to get some more out. 42.40 if we can. But let's get
Sean,
going here.
I'm happy for you for the long in XOM, but of course sitting here halted in Oxy and seeing oil somewhat rebounding, it's sort of one of those situations where it doesn't seem ideal, but it is news pending and we don't really know exactly what's going to come of it. Been checking Twitter to see if there's any speculation. Nothing yet. We have no idea when it's going to open up, but we have lots of other things probably to get to here. Brendan, let's go back to you.
Guys, you want to pull up CCL right now. Pence and Trump just saying there will be help for the cruise line. So CCL halted at the moment on the way back to the upside. Just broke 22 on a volatility halt there. So 2.7%. You can see big bounce on that news. Lots of volume coming in. You want to pull up CCL. NCLH, I believe, is Norwegian as well. Another one you can look at. But yeah, Pence and Trump just saying that there will be help for the cruise line. So we'll keep an eye on where CCL is going to open back up here.
Yeah, I mean, this is why you want to tune in right at 9 a.m. and have preparation for these markets, because it was important to note when you got that, possible, the tax cuts, interest-free loans for small businesses. What was not said was help for the travel and cruise industry. So you knew that if you're going to be trading these names, ear to the ground, watch the headlines, and if there was going to be a shock, we already know there was nothing announced. It was always going to be that an announcement came in. So, if you're shorting these, and again, I was very particular with the shorts that I wanted here, and they never really gave you that opportunity. There was a missed break here at that 2180. Again, almost impossible to cross into. Outside of that, you're scalping it knowing you have very, very sensitive stock to any news, and you don't want to get caught with your pants down, which if you shorted the bottom here, hate to be you.
Yeah, we're sure. I just took AAL long, so we'll see what happens here, guys.
Yeah, we'll have a look at, I was just going to say, some of the airlines there might be worth having a look at, even the hotels possibly. They're talking about insurance companies as well. Some of the insurance companies plan on waiving co-pays in relation to coronavirus treatment. So maybe some of the insurance companies worth having a look at the moment. Lots of developments coming out of this press conference as we are sitting here, guys, as far as the travel industry. We mentioned cruise lines. Some of the hotels might be worth having a look at. Let's have a look at some of the virus stocks here. I just pulled up OPK and kind of blew my mind. This thing filled this gap to the number basically today, all the way back to 165. We gapped up 2 or 3 days ago, all the way above 210, all the way back now to essentially where we started from. This OPK was one of the face mask makers, guys.
Look, we talked about several of these names, and there's nothing wrong with this one. We liked them. Codex was good in the retracement. AIM was fantastic. You're able to get 10% returns shorting both of those. Yeah, and you can add OPK to the list. Why not? It gave you a break of the pre-market low. You could have even had it earlier. Certainly, if you looked at yesterday, that little bottom in the afternoon, you would have had this at 220 instead of trying to short 210 or 2 even. Either way, you're getting 20, 30, maybe even a 40% return on that. Fantastic. Volume good at 15 million shares. So it doesn't really necessarily matter which of these names that you choose.
Right.
They're all moving around. I would tend to be in the ones that are more scalable. I know there's 1 or 2 that sit there with less than 1 million in volume, and it's all great that you can have a 10% move, but 1 million shares done versus 20 million when it's about the same price. They're all under $5, a lot of these. Go where the volume is.
XOM right now, we're buying some. Why isn't my chart changing? Still on AAL. There it is. XOM, we're buying ahead of this bottom here. 41.45. If it breaks that, we will get out, but we are closely also watching oil.
Yeah, watch it down to 33.20.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to watch XOM right now, trying to hold up. So we are long once again, 41.79, guys.
Guys, Enable Energy, another one that we were looking at. If you joined us at 9 o'clock this morning, again, we had 2 or 3 that were the biggest percentage decliners yesterday in the oil group, bouncing significantly back to the upside today. ENBL in New York here, still up 26% on the day, but have a look at this break that just happened here. 250, guys, we just took out all the way down to 230 in a straight line here. I mean, you can, it's a group-wide event, obviously coming back to the downside, but pick your poison. ENBL, just another one.
Yeah,
ENBL, you know what this is.
Yeah, I mean, ENBL, and I'm pretty sure this was a name that yesterday was also brought up. And again, one of the things that's going to happen to you on days like this is I'm actually consolidating the number of symbols that I've traded today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 names I've looked at. Last week, it was entirely too many, sometimes 12 to 15. The only one that I've lost on today is Twitter. And God knows why we're trying that one when it was basically not following the market. I think if you just, anything following the oil futures there, we're successful on. The coronavirus seems no problem. Same thing with AMD and AAL. You jump into something that isn't working for you, you just get away from it, one and done. But ENBL, what's interesting to me are these little consolidation levels. And then if you can catch these breaks. Now, I know when things are short sale restricted, sometimes you're crossing very deeply, but this is a $3 stock. And look at the opening range bottom here at 3 even, and look at the consolidation. This is very similar to the drop we had in Oxy, which was fantastic. And then you look at that flush, you're talking about a huge return there, 20% move to the downside off what is as obvious a level break as you will ever see. Can you get shares? That's the question. The volume says yes. My guess is it would have been very tricky. You're maybe even waiting for that pullback. We see your question there, Raja. I know you want to see a little bit of what's going on with the currencies. Brendan is all over it. He's there at the big screen.
Yeah, just brought back up the currency board here to see some significant moves here, guys. I want to talk about the pound here real quick. When we did the currency update way back about an hour ago now, this was about 1%. So significant move to the downside for the pound right now, back to 129.5, 1.3% in negative territory as we stand. Canadian dollar falling as well. This was 0.2% to the downside when we spoke last, now 0.5% in negative territory. So this press conference seeing a little bit of strength coming back into the U.S. dollar. The euro as well under pressure, 0.8% to the downside now. That was about break even when I checked the last time, so 1.13 to the downside. Bitcoin has given up its gains. So both cryptos that we follow here back in negative territory, guys. This was above 8,000 when last we spoke, now 7,800, 197 for Ethereum, down about 0.4%. So yeah, big moves in the currency markets underway as well, guys.
Yeah, good look.
Yeah, great and fantastic look and great question, Raja. You do have to start following some of these currencies. Everything is lockstep. We talked about the relationship in the USD yen, making moves that you hadn't seen in terms of volatility since the crash in 08, which, obviously I don't think there's many people that are going to compare this directly to that crash. But when you see a move like that, you've got to wake up and pay attention to what's happening here. Valeria, I believe, has a little quick something for us as we're 2 minutes away, and I think it should be fun.
Good.
Yeah, Neil, what a day, guys. Thank you for tuning in with us, and thank you for all of your activity. I remind you that we are live on YouTube every day starting at 9 a.m. and until 12 p.m. Eastern time. So you're more than welcome. Yesterday, bring your friends and share our links. Also, guys, hit more likes, like all of our videos. We will be so happy. And of course, subscribe so you get notifications when we have a new content or going live. And guys, today is the National Mario Day. I googled how do you celebrate Mario Day, and it says invite your closest friends and family over and wear Mario swag. So Neil and Sean, do you have a lot of Mario swag at home?
I have
you play Mario Kart.
Tons of Mario swag, but XOM right now, 30 penny winner. We take that. I like to play with a Yoshi because some games you can eat the guys. You can get your tongue out there and just zap them and get them all going. But
I was a Toad guy myself. But
right now, XOM, guys, talk about that. Come over to the chart right now quickly, guys. This is XOM buying the bottoms, getting out. That's a 30, 40 penny winner right now. We're not playing around. The day just keeps getting bigger and better. Let's see if it goes. We're long right now, XOM, 41
66.
Yeah,
now, buying the bottoms. Let's go.
What you want to watch there, and this is going to be the key, volume spike just a few minutes ago right here, right at that little base bottom at 41.60 on XOM. Here is the base. Fresh low was 33 in oil futures. We made a huge spike at the absolute bottom and start running to the upside there. So that's one to watch. Again, you know, if you're trading one of these names and you were short, this is a signal to maybe take it off. And I am short, and certainly I would if we weren't halted in Oxy. But again, this is the kind of thing you have to watch for. Big volume spike at the bottom there and the nice little bounce. Those are the scalps you have to watch for. These are the markets they're giving to you right now. Tons of volatility, tons of trading opportunity. We'll throw to Brennan definitely for some last words. A great look, by the way, at the last minute, quickly jumping in with that update on the currency.
I mean, a great comment from, not sure who it was in the chat there, but a great comment noticing some big moves in the currency market as well. If you're, you know, of the type of trader that likes the more stable kind of back and forth capturing spread type of trade, have a look at CY, guys. I mean, this has been a volume story today. I mean, throughout the afternoon, if you're looking for an opportunity, this thing's done, 35 million shares on the day. Basically, any of these pull-ins have been buyable, even with the market coming off. This thing, you know, working its way back up towards 2240. The story, again, end of last week, the U.S. was considering not allowing this deal with Infineon to go through. Some people got a really great buying opportunity all the way down to 1550, and look at today, we're back to 2250. So something to look at for the afternoon, guys.
Yeah, those that recommend that the deal get canceled for national security reasons, and then the stock goes from 23 to 14, turn around and give approval. And we're back up to 22. 23.85 is the deal there. Brendan, fantastic job. It has been an absolutely a great morning and a great session. We are piling everything into this morning session. You can see how much more exciting it is. So, of course, we're not going to be back doing the 3 o'clock. It is now YouTube Live every day. Like and subscribe. 9 o'clock, we're going to give you our watch list. We're going to look at the names that are hot fire and are moving. Valeri's going to be all over the board. We're going to be trading heavily. This is what it's all about here. Maybe I'll get the note on the salmon shirt next time you guys coordinate.
It's good luck. Here's another 50 cents right now for XOM today. Multiple dollars winners given to you. Multiple winners today all over the place. Thank you for joining us. It's past 12 o'clock. We'll be back tomorrow. Hit that like button. Good day today, Neil. Too many winners to talk about. Check my Twitter. You'll see it. You can see all the results at the bottom. 55, 60 pennies now, up in the money right now on XOM. Let's go, guys.
We're headed towards 33, so 34. Watch out for that 34 level on oil. Watch out 27.80 on the ES. But we got to get out of here at some point. It's been fantastic. I hope you've enjoyed it. For the entire team here, Liz, our analyst, Valeria on the ones and twos. She's our chat maestra. And Brennan, as always, doing a fantastic job. I'm way ahead of you guys there. There it is. And as always, for myself, Neil Roberts, and Sean Katina, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is tradertv.live.
Yes.
We'll see you tomorrow.